Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pass the Barb. Today is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. We're in the new year. Look at us. We did it.
Happy New Year, boys.
We're quite about as late as we probably could be doing this every 2 weeks. Be able to say that. Actually.
Yeah, for real.
So happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for joining us at the number one outdoor podcast in the world. I am your host, Adam.
For yet another year.
Yeah, yet another year. I'm joined by Ryan Pinkalla.
What up? Glad to be back. Glad to be in a new year. Ready to get this thing going. That's what I'm here for.
And we are joined as well by our man, Captain Bill, up in Idaho now, right?
Yeah, back in Idaho. I went
back in Idaho.
Yeah, but back in Idaho. But
Idaho.
happy 2024, boys. It's gonna be a good one, I think. So
how wild is it like experiencing your New Year in Mountain Time? Well, we're doing Central, right?
No, actually, I'm in Pacific time now.
Holy shit! So it was 10. Oh wow!
Yeah, we were blacked out and in bed, and he was just getting her going.
He was like, "Oh my god, I just finished dinner."
But no, for the New Year's, I was actually in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
So we were on the same page, but I had to drive.
Thanks for the call.
I wish, boys. I got horrifically sick on like Christmas Day, and then
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, no kidding. I was I sort of struggled through that. And then I ended up drove back to Montana on the 1st. So my New Year's Eve was pretty uneventful. I think I was in bed before midnight. So
right on.
Man, me too. Like actually I did watch the ball drop and then I was like, okay, I'm going to bed.
I did too. It was pretty funny because I drove home with my brother. I rode with him, so I didn't have my truck or anything. So he like dropped me off at the bar that night, and then I was with some of my buddies from home, and then we ended up going back to their house, and I was still like kind of not feeling the best, and I was like, I just want to sleep and have a decent drive tomorrow, because it's 15 hours. So I had texted my mom. I was like, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" It was like 11 o'clock. But I'm getting old.
I was gonna say that was your first time old thing.
Yeah, it definitely was. But I was happy the next day.
They slowly start creeping up on you.
I feel like I'm like 80. So yeah.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Yeah, so here we are back in 2024, and we're all 80 now. So
yeah,
we aged.
I think
rapidly.
I'm the only one that did anything. This is unreal.
Yeah, no, I like seriously. The excitement of my New Year's Pink was me and Alyssa were chilling with her cats that we moved in. Well, cat.
Good God, man.
And then I was swapping treble hooks on Tika flashes.
I'm so disappointed in both of us, Adam.
I will say I finally was at Bart's house.
Fuck you.
There's that. I will say I finally went to
I've
Bart's
only
house,
ever gotten to say that to you like once. That worked out pretty good.
His girlfriend cares more about that cat than him, for sure.
100%.
Based on what I've seen in your house, unbelievable.
What's the name of the cat?
Well, her name is Winter, but we call her Beans. I don't get it. But
it's short for Winter, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. It's kind of like if your name is God damn it. What's
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say
if you call them Dick, what's their first name normally?
Richard, but that's just I don't know.
It's really not the same at all.
That's about the closest we can get into human names. Like if you can think of an actual name that like coincides with a nickname for something else, same thing, right? Winter, Beans,
That was
you got a cat anyway, so
so we have a cat now. But the biggest thing, like I said, was swapping. I was swapping treble hooks on Tika flashes, which, by the way, just take a wild guess. So 2 hours. How many? Well, it was about an hour and a half. How many Tika flash treble hooks do you think I swapped? Split ring pliers. You only need to swap
12.
one treble hook. You go from a number 18 to a number 16 treble hook.
in an hour?
In an hour and
a half. I think just based on how much you shake, it was probably a dozen.
I hope you did like 50.
No.
14.
It takes
Oh, I
you
was
that
pretty close.
long to do that.
No, it's they have micro split rings on them.
Oh,
So like getting it actually open and not bent, like I bent 4 or 5 of them wide open
Oh.
on accident. And then I was like,
Okay.
okay, I need to like doing the usual, like swapping the DT hooks or whatever process. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I can't do this way. And I had to
Okay.
figure
So
out a
it's
new way, and it was not fun. So now I will say, for any listener of Pass the Barb who's an ice fisherman, I may or may not have like 20 to 30 1/16 ounce Tika flashes that I'd be willing to part with because I don't want to put the other hooks on them, and I have 14 that I think will work just fine. So
And you'll only
I'm a
use
Tika
one
flash
for the rest
dealer
of the
now.
season.
Yes. So I will sell the other ones, or maybe just send them to somebody. I'm not doing it, man. I got halfway through and I was like, no, don't care how good this thing catches fish. I'm not
That's funny.
swapping these hooks.
And then you told us we couldn't film
so our New
multiplayer
Year's
anyway.
was pretty boring. So Pink, let's go to you. What have you been up to, current events wise? What's going on?
I for New Year's I went to Wisconsin,
Nice.
and we had like a family Christmas thing going on over there for like New Year's weekend. But
Sure.
I was up by Stevens Point area, so I tried to rally the troops for New Year's.
For old time's
and
sake, yeah.
yeah,
Let me
and
guess,
and
Connor ignored you.
he didn't ignore me. He actually
Wow.
said he was gonna bring his friend.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and shockingly they bailed last minute, of course, right?
Who'd have thought?
No way.
So I ended up, so whatever. I went to Stevens Point because I was there anyway. Hung out there for a while. Ended up doing some stuff back by my family's stuff too, and it was good. It was good.
Nice.
Day drinking was done. It was good. It was a good New Year's all around, and then burned home and went and got sushi till I pretty much wanted to die, and I was pretty satisfied with that.
That sounds nice. That's a good mix of all things.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yep.
Not bad. And then, I mean, so after New Year's, I mean, we've had quite the development in weather in Minnesota, I would say, since New Year's. So, Will, I'm sure when you were back for Christmas, it was pouring, right?
Yeah, and I actually went and fished Lake of the Woods prior to all hell breaking loose on Long Point.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
dude, just all hell broke loose in Minnesota in general.
I was
like
out
everything
there.
was chill. People were on red. Lake of the Woods. It was like the ice kind of sucks, but like there's some places that are okay. Then it rained 3 inches, and everybody was like, it didn't really seem like it did anything. And then the next day, all hell broke loose.
Yeah. Yeah, I was up there when it started happening on red, and then when we left, like the next day, that's when like Long Point, Lake of the Woods got super shitty too. So I was happy that we got 2 good days of fishing in, but it was I mean, like rained the entire time. So that wasn't super fun.
Yeah. Well, and since now we've finally started developing some ice, we've been able to, where are we in the Chronicles right now? Okay. Yeah, we got more videos coming out right now. Yeah, we're still at the part where ice sucks, and it still kind of does until I guess right now. But today, Griff and I were out for a little clam thing, and oh, you guys will like this. So we're Clayton Kettering is like practicing for this big event, or we're bringing out like sales reps or whatever, representatives from companies, and just trying to put them on some fish and have a good time. And Clayton's been practicing, just checking lakes for bites. And he's like, all right, I got this one. He's like, that by the access is like 4.5. But if you make it about 50 to 75 feet, there's 6 to 7 and we can drive machines. So me and Clayton get there in the morning and we're both like, well, I'm taking my snowmobile. So we both take our snowmobiles out, all good, make it all the way out, get everybody out there. Look down at live. Pink, we are talking schools like, like the crappie schools we see.
Mm-hmm.
largemouth.
Shut up.
And they bit.
Really?
It was pretty
So wait,
wild.
So you just shot the machines over the 4 inches to get out to where it was.
Yeah,
thicker?
we kind of just like hit it and we're like, and then
Oh
we
my
get, and then
God.
this is where it gets better, right? So we get out there, do our thing, hop around all day. When all the people start showing up and we're taking them out, we like get within 100 feet of shore and we're like, I'm not driving back there till later. Like I plan on going back over that one more time today. And when I'm getting off. So you need to walk down to me. So everybody walk down to us. We go out, find the largemouth, catch a bunch of them. We keep chasing around crappies and bluegills, eventually run into some, catch some good fish. So end of the day comes. We're shuttling everybody off, doing the whole deal. Ice is still great, doing great. And the whole time, like we're looking at each other, and I had the ATV with too, the 1000cc Polaris. And I was like, no, I'm not. We're not taking that thing across that area and coming further out, you know? So we get all our stuff back. We're all back at the trucks. We've driven over the bad area and everything. But this lake we're fishing is right by a very popular road, you know? And we're getting off around when people are getting off work. So you just know all day people have been driving by and being like, oh my God, there's 25 people on the lake. I can just go take my machines out and like go fish.
Oh my God. Uh-huh.
So we're getting off, and all of a sudden, me and Clayton are sitting there chatting, and a fucking cab side by side with a V plow on the front just comes ripping around the corner, drives right down to go on, and Clayton just looks at me and he's just like, I'm not gonna look, not gonna look, not gonna look. And he
Like
goes
you
down
knew
right,
it was gonna be.
we were like, this guy's going through. Like there's
Yeah.
like we measured the ice and it was 4.5 inches. Like, and he's got a V plow on the front of a cab side by side. There's no way this is gonna go good. But he goes down, drives 25 feet onto the ice, then decides, you know what? I should probably check the ice thickness. Gets out on what is the thinnest ice, drills a hole, realizes it is the thinnest ice, proceeds to drive forward another 25 feet, check the ice. Now it's starting to get a little bit thicker. Buddy's confused, gets back in, punches it. Didn't end up going through. It would have been way cooler if we went through, but it was
just go out.
But it was still like, you know, when you're out on a lake all day and you're like, yeah, dude, glad we didn't take that other machine. And then a dude comes with something that weighs like as a little more than a small car. And it's just like, yeah, I'm going to go. And he goes, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he made it over that. I thought for sure I was going to watch a side-by-side go in.
I'm sure somebody will now that's somebody will there probably.
Well, dude, and that's the other thing. Like where we were on a really big lake, and where we were fishing has been frozen for like a month, like on and off, you know, slowly building. The rest of the lake's been wide open, and it snowed and it froze 2 days ago. The rest of the lake did, and then it snowed 5 inches out there last night. So you look across that lake
sheets
and
at all.
It looks like one sheet. And somebody's going to go they're just going to go. And they're going to go right through 2 inches.
Dude, I don't even like when we're walking and doing that. Like that,
like
like
when
we
you
were
can't
on this
see
past
it?
weekend. Yeah. Like where you're like chiseling.
Oh, yeah. So, Bill, we go out on a lake this weekend. And we're like, yeah, we've heard there's 5 inches. It's good. We just all nonchalantly just walk out, do our whole thing, drill a hole, drop the live down. There's 5 inches. Oh, 40 feet that way. So I go walk over to drill a hole there. I click to drill, and it makes about half a turn and goes through. And I'm like, what? Kind of like back away
and I'm
from
like
it.
kneeling down at the hole because like we were gonna like drop on some
like
fish.
right next to it, yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna not move right now.
And I like slowly backed away, and I was like, Pink, how much is there? And he like feels it. He's like, I don't know, 2-ish.
Not a lot.
not much.
Meanwhile, there's
But
like 50 50 people out there just walking around recklessly, and Pink just grabs a spud bar, and yeah,
I was
you
trying
can
to
go
be like
from there.
smart, like, oh, we'll just, we'll go to where we're trying to get to, where there's other people obviously fishing, and we'll just work our way that way. And I'm just gonna like spud as we go. Well, we'd been walking around already for like whatever, half an hour, and it was like it seemed fine. You're walking, you drill a hole, and it's like 4 inches or
It's
so.
not cracking, nothing's happening. Yeah.
No, but we start walking, and now that I have the spud out, I'm like, well, I might as well use it. So we're at least trying to be smart about this. And we're going, and it's like, I'm throwing it pretty hard, and it's like it's stick, good, 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 and then just one spot right through, one hit, like zero resistance. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck. So then I'm like, okay, let's go that way. So we go over there, and then I'm like, I'm hitting it. It's like, it sounds different too. And I'm like, let's just try to like go through. And it was like 2 whacks, and it was all the way through. And I'm like hooking it on the ice, and there's like a little measuring tape on the spud that we had with us. And like I hooked it, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, dude, it says like 2.5 like inches. And of course Waldron's like, oh dude, it reads like half an inch off.
Oh yeah.
We're like, which way?
And I think and then I was like, well, which, like high or low? Because I was like, this ain't it, dude.
Yeah,
And then
either
we
way,
just
it's
stopped.
not good.
Yeah. But then it was like you'd be like constantly on 5 and then like into like thinner. So we just stopped spudding because we're like, like if you,
Pink
just
looked
walk
at us
through
and said the best line of all time, and he goes, "This was a lot more fun when I didn't have the spud bar."
Yeah, exactly.
like when we were just walking and assumed everything was fine. Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss. Just
Well,
That's
and
why,
then we ended up figuring out there was like some white snow patches basically where it must have snowed like right when the lake froze, like at the same time basically.
Yeah.
So if it was one of those, 2.5
Yeah.
max. Everything else was 4 to 5. Like it was pretty good, but
Yeah.
See, but normally this like time period only lasts like a week or so. So you're kind of like, oh, this sucks. And then it gets cold and you're like, it's fine though. Cause like now there's 6 to 8 inches everywhere. But like,
dude,
it's
been
this
6 fucking weeks of this.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like we're on early ice like for a month plus. And every time you go out, your butthole is absolutely puckered. And you're just like, God damn it. I hate everything about this.
When can this be over? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more exciting thing that I'll share in non-winter related news. Well, kind of, I guess, but I just bought a new boat, so we're very excited about that.
Shut up. What'd you
Yay.
get?
Just another drift boat. I sold my old drift boat this fall, and then I'll pick this one up in the spring. But yeah, excited about it for sure.
Hell yeah.
So new drifter
That's
coming to Montana.
Is it
how much?
is it
Out
like,
of curiosity, I'm very just negligent to this fact. How much do those cost? Like, what's that market like? The drift boat market like?
Well, if you bought like it depends on the manufacturer, but the range for a brand new drift boat, I would say, is between 14 to 18 on the high end for the drift boats we use. You can get
100 or 1,000.
1,000, 14,000 to 18,000.
Really? I would not have expected that much for like, because you guys don't like, you don't have, it's not motorized.
No,
like you're rowing.
there's no motor. I think it's kind of crazy what they charge.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would have
but
guessed.
But they're
'cause,
like
even a
technically designed, that's why.
They're
It's like
sweet. Like the one I got,
Yeah.
it's an adipose makes them, and they're based out of Helena, so it's really the perfect drift boat for the river that I guide on. So I mean, like the attention to detail and craftsmanship and all that is top of the line. I do think it's kind of crazy to spend that kind of money on a boat that doesn't have a motor, but
I just think of like the kayak market now, and like you can get a really souped up kayak with like a graph on it for 10
Right.
10 grand, and that's like a 10, 12 foot, maybe even longer kayak.
Yeah.
And I get, the drift boat's a lot more material, but it's like,
sure. Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? That has
similar.
a pedal drive installed in it. You're using an oar.
Yeah. Yeah. Two oars. Yeah. But yeah, excited about that. And so yeah, actively booking for 2024 in Montana if anybody wants to come trout fishing with me. Starting to get a little bit, June and July are starting to fill, but plenty of availability. So yeah.
Have you guys had as mild of a winter as we have? I swear I've been talking to guys out there, and there's like hella ice out that way, and it's been cold.
No, it's been super mild. in Montana up until this week. It's gonna get cold there, like you guys, I think, and there's snow now. But yeah, when I left for Christmas, it did snow a little bit, but there was no snow on the ground when I left. So yeah, I'm hoping the thing is here, well, Montana specifically, is you need a good snowpack, for a lot of reasons. Water for the rivers and, to help with fires in the summer. So, I'm hoping they get a lot more snow. I'm not there right now, so I don't care, but hopefully we get tons and
Dude,
tons
we
of
just got our first snowpack like today,
right.
yesterday. Like I just went outside and I was like, hey, now it's winter.
Yeah. But yeah, super important. I mean, not just Montana, any Western state, snowpack is important, but it'll come, whatever. So, but yeah, looking forward to 2024 Missouri River trout season for sure with my new vessel. So excited.
When do you actually
Nice.
get it?
I'll pick it up in April.
Sick.
Yeah, pick it up in April. So yeah, but that's probably the most exciting thing for me. I've been working out here, fishing, but to be honest with you, the fishing hasn't been very good. So been kind of a grinder, but oh well.
You still got a lot of clients and stuff?
Yeah, staying pretty busy out here, it is going to get super cold this weekend, like lows in the negatives. So all those trips got either canceled or rebooked. That's just too cold to be fishing outside in a boat,
Well, dude, that's like we're finally like, oh my God, we're going to get a film in the Metro. And like, I haven't even texted the guys yet, but it's like, what the hell's our plan? It's going to be a high of -6 and -5. And like, I should say, we have filmed in that like several times, and it's this time of year, but it's like you can drive a truck. So like you get out, go fish for like 10, 15 minutes. You're like, oh my God, I'm cold. And you hop into your truck and warm up for 20 minutes. Like once again, we're on like 5 to 7 inches of ice if it freezes really good by then.
Yeah.
So there's like, we're going to set up a house. Like what are we going to do?
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just cold. And especially fishing like what we're, you guys know. I mean, anytime it's super cold and you're fishing out of a boat, things break, motors break down. It's just
open water, once it gets below freezing,
it sucks.
Just everything gets so difficult.
Yeah, and everything breaks and rods explode, and yeah, it's just no good. So once we get past the little cold snap this weekend, it is going to start to slowly warm up. But yeah, what can you do, right?
It's what it is, brother.
Yeah. Is what it is.
Yep.
But
well, let's do our draft.
Yeah, let's do a little weigh in. Pink, you want to explain this whole deal to the people?
Yeah, so we're going to go into the newest edition of the weigh-in. So we're going to go through this snake draft style. We're going to all select 4 items, I guess, of the theme to build out our roster for this week. We're doing the most failed New Year's resolutions. So you're going to have to pick the 4 most failed New Year's resolutions to build out your team here. And we'll post this on social media and we'll have people vote on it. And the fans have been pretty good about this. People are getting involved and very emotional in the voting aspect of this. So we're going to keep that rolling.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Just to clarify, it's not like a trivia thing, right? There's no right or wrong answer in this. I mean, it's what you think.
It's what you think, but I mean, you kind of need to pander a bit here to get votes.
Yeah, plead your case a little.
So and I don't know, Bart, how do you want to pick who goes first? Because I don't even know who won the last one or where that's at. But we only have 3 people, so this shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, no, and Will, I don't think Will was in the last one, and I might have not been either. So that just throws it completely off. I was going to look at who won last time, and I don't think it matters.
No, I think we just need clean slate. We just need to run this.
We'll start. Yeah. How do we want to pick?
We could let Bill hasn't been here in a while. He could be one of one pick.
Okay.
Well, how about you just. You want one of one, or do you want to select your position?
Yeah, we'll let that happen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
I'll do 3. I want the wraparound.
All right. That works.
I'll do
Bart, what do you want?
I'll
give it
do
to you.
2.
So Ryan gets
Okay.
101.
I guess so. 101. Well, let's lead this thing right off. Worst, or what is it? Most failed New Year's resolutions. If you're gonna give me 101,
wait, are we doing the worst, like the worst New Year's resolutions, or the most often failed?
the most failed, most often failed. Well, I guess it's kind of the same thing, right?
I don't think it's necessarily the same thing.
It's the most often failed.
Most often failed. Okay.
Most failed New Year's resolutions.
Can we do the worst?
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, that could still technically be part of it, but yeah, most often failed. That's very different. I think that this one might be fairly hard, but it also
I think it's not hard.
Okay.
Okay. I agree with you, Adam, but we can do it. Pink is the game master here, so
this isn't a debate. This is what it is.
You heard him. This is what it is. It's time to nut up or shut up.
We're here. This is the way in, folks. All right.
Okay, so
all right. I'm
failed.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Ryan.
So I'm taking going to the gym.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. I figured that was going to be a 1-1.
That's the for sure 1 of 1 pick.
You're keeping notes on these, right?
Yeah. Yep. I got it right here.
All right. Cool. I'll go number 2 for the most often failed resolution, and I'm going to go, it kind of goes along with it, but I'm going to go weight loss.
Okay.
All right.
That's not the same thing. That's different.
Yeah, like a weight loss goal or something like that.
Yeah, like you want to lose 20 pounds.
I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year.
Yep.
All right, I'll put weight loss goal. Yeah, like that. That's a good one.
I'm going to stay in this sort of realm, this sort of theme, and I'm going to say eating healthier.
Oh, there it is. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because you say you're going to do it and you won't. You will for a couple weeks and
you'll feel really good about yourself. And then you go on one weekend bender with your friends and then you're right back.
Yep. Before you know it, you're
like, oh, yeah, binge eating. I remember this.
You're like, oh, jalapeno poppers at the gas station. These are so good. Pizza sticks, my favorite. Yeah.
And it's like I ate healthy yesterday, so.
Right.
Yeah. The problem for me is like Pink knows whenever we go out to eat for stuff, like I can't not order an appetizer, and there ain't one appetizer that's somewhat good for you.
No, they're all bad for you. That's why they're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Pink.
All right, you got the wraparound here.
You get the wraparound.
All right. Okay. I think we got the 3 probably most obvious ones off the board, right?
Sure.
I would say. I'm going to say for my second pick, I'm going to say learn a new hobby.
Ooh,
that is a good one. I didn't think of that. That's a good one.
And here, I'll just say one thing about that. I think as you get older, and I think most people would agree, it's really challenging to pick up a new hobby. Like, let's say I wanted to learn how to knit. I wanted to pick up knitting. That takes a lot of time. Think about how much time you guys have invested in your hobbies, years, decades, to get good at it. I just don't. I think picking up a new hobby, I think it's kind of out. I don't think it's really.
It's kind of like Bill forever. Like I went skiing a couple times in high school, and I was like, that was really fun. And ever since I've graduated, I've been like, man, I should go skiing. Guess who hasn't been skiing?
Right. It's like
Barty boy. Yeah. But the best thing is you probably bought all kinds of skis and shit.
And still in my head, I'm like, God, I would really love to go skiing.
Right. It's just you reach the point where it's like it's just you can't. It's too tough to try something new and invest all that money. So I'm gonna say learning a new hobby.
Learning a new hobby.
Okay.
Got it. All right.
Bart, this one. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to phrase this because the only note I have is alcohol. And I'm just going to say, like, whether it's like drink less or like there's a lot of people who right away at like January, they go like dry January.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily a whole year thing, but it's like drink less. And I feel like you do that
Drink less.
and you maybe do it for like 3 weeks and then it's once again
Blowout.
yeah.
Absolute. Okay. So drinking less.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Drinking less alcohol.
Yeah.
Drinking less booze. Got it. All right. All right. To me, I'm going. I'm gonna do saving more money.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think people. Yeah. That one. People suck at that. I'm going with that.
I'm very bad at it.
That's a solid one for sure.
All right. Saving more money. All right. And then I'm back to back here.
Well, normally that comes because it's right after the holiday season and you just spent a shitload of money on gifts for people and stuff. And like all these, you went out to see people, you went to the bars, you spent an egregious amount of money and you get back and you're like, man, I'm going to be better about this. And once again, you aren't.
No.
you aren't. Shocking.
Yeah.
That, one day didn't change shit. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go read more books.
That's a good one.
People have good intentions with that one, but ain't no way. If you ain't reading books now, you ain't starting tomorrow, dude. Oh God.
So Pink, not. I'm gonna ask if this is considered the same. I had it written different because you have read more books, which I feel is generic. I had read every night.
Generically reading more books.
Adam, Vito, you can't do that.
Okay. I was just asking because like people will be like, I'm gonna read every night before bed. They're not saying what they're reading.
That's literally the same thing.
What are they reading? Are they paging?
They may be reading a magazine.
Through the Hustler, the new.
My God!
The Hustler. Or
okay, fine. I'll think of a different one. But
he gets Playboy for the articles, dude. It's fine.
Yeah, well, the articles are.
That's
really
what my dad
good.
always said.
Yeah, well, it's like going to Hooters for the
I'm
wings.
not. Mark never said that. I'm not. Mom, if you're listening, he never said that.
All right, we'll clip that. Where's that?
So,
okay, that was
most often failed resolutions. So I don't know if this one's extremely popular, but I definitely think it's failed on a lot by the people who do it. But the people who say I'm going to pay it forward more.
Pay it forward, like they're gonna.
Like say you go to a Starbucks drive-through or something, and you're like, I'm going to buy the person behind me. You know what I mean?
I've never done that in my entire life.
I haven't either. But nobody's ever done it for me either, so fuck them.
I don't go to. I like shitty gas station coffee, so I don't go to Starbucks.
No, nobody's at Quick Trip paying for my donut. What?
Yeah, true that, dude. Where's my glazer?
All right, that was a good one. Will, it's to you. So you got back to back to finish yours off here.
Okay, so just to recap, I have eat healthier and
learning a new hobby.
Okay, my third is going to be making your bed every day.
Ooh. Oh, that is a really good one.
Nobody is gonna, if you don't do that, like you said, kind of the reading thing. If you're not already doing it, it's not in the cards for you. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, you're right. Making your bed.
Yeah, it's.
Will, are you a bed maker?
No, I'm not, and I've tried, and I can't. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me at all.
Yeah, everybody sees that thing on Instagram of that Marine guy talking shit about changing your life, making your bed, and everyone does it once, and they're like, "Yeah, this ain't it."
Oh, the guy who's giving the commencement speech. He's the Navy guy. Yeah,
that video probably has like 50 million views.
Yeah, I just I'm not a bed maker. Okay, I've got my fourth.
All right.
And I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this, but I'm just gonna say spend less time on your phone.
Wow, that is a really good one too.
Yeah.
Does that resonate?
Will, you're doing a very clean draft. That was a very clean draft.
This is probably my best.
That might be your best one ever. That's very good.
He's going to be very competitive.
Yeah. Same thing as everything else. Like I've also tried doing this. Like, I've set time amounts on social media. It's just like it doesn't work. You just like bypass it, like I don't know. It's really challenging. I'm addicted to my phone. So
I like it.
Yeah.
There's no hope for you, dude.
So here's my last one to bring it home. This is for a group of people I know out there is like me, who sets probably 10 to 15 alarms to get up in the morning, and you say, I'm gonna get up on the first alarm.
That's a great pick, Adam.
Very
That is-
solid.
That's
And
phenomenal.
the reality is you might do it once and you're like, holy fuck, look at how productive I was today. I did it. And it never happens again for like
That was
3
an
months later.
bloodshot and shit. Like, you know.
Yeah.
That was a great pick, Adam. Great pick. That was a good one.
Oh man, this is tough. I got two really what I think are solid. To end this, what am I taking? All right, I'm taking this one because I've heard this so much. No one will ever do this. So if this is your New Year's resolution, you have zero chance. Start journaling. People that are going to start journaling. You will not do this. There's no goddamn way.
Dude, that is such a good one. That is phenomenal.
Oh,
that is like so true. There's no way. That's harder than reading, dude. You actually have to write.
Yeah, there's more
but you
activity.
bought like 5 extra notebooks because you're like, for sure gonna need these.
I'm in.
Yeah, I've done that too. I said I'm gonna log every single day I fish and what the water temp is and what the river flow is and how many clients I had and what we caught. And no, I can't.
You made that through one day, probably.
Yeah, maybe this year's the year. I don't. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure, dude.
This is it for Bill.
You can.
Captain Bill's gonna keep his logbook nice and tidy this year.
All right, boys. I'm gonna burn through these. So I got. I think that was. Does anybody have any honorable mentions before I go through these?
Well, we could do them after you read through it, but I do have one.
Okay. Well, here I'll go through them first. So my roster here is going to the gym, saving more money, reading more books, and starting journaling.
That is a very good team.
Strong.
I think everyone did good here. Bart's got weight loss goals, drinking less booze, paying it forward more, and waking up first alarm. And Captain Bill with a pretty strong team here. Eating healthier, learning a new hobby, making your bed every day, and spending less time on your phone.
Those are free.
God damn.
I think we all did pretty good there. All across the board.
Strong work.
There's a lot of failure in those teams there.
Yeah.
I do. So I have one. I almost said it until the alarm, and I was like, no, I have to say the alarm because it just means so much to me. But this one also has to do with me, and Pink was at my house this weekend, so he saw this. But one that I try to do every year is buy less fishing tackle, or like use this stuff I have before buying more.
Yep.
You won't.
And it doesn't happen, but
no.
Yeah, that's a good one too, Adam. But your pick, I'm glad you didn't pick that as your final because that's that's fairly narrow.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's a good one.
I had a couple. I had taking the stairs more.
That
if you're already an avid escalator user, you're not gonna use
You're not, dude. You're not. Let's
be real here. What's that gonna do for you?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Like how many stairs do you encounter that are not in your house? Like that often where you know what I mean? That it's gonna make that significant of an impact on your life.
You know who it would do something for? That megalodon that was complaining about not having a fucking full row for herself. That offensive tackle, if she took the stairs a few times, like I said, if she
might
went
be
on
a tight end.
Maybe it should be like if you step on the escalator and you're over a certain weight, it just stops moving and you just have to fucking.
I think it should eject you. There should be an eject button.
It's like, oh no, sorry.
It should shoot you into the air and throw you off of it like a.
It starts
like
going like back down.
Just say the escalator in general has like a weight max mode. So like people are hopping on it. And you can constantly see you're like, oh, we're like 5 pounds off. Someone gets off and there's just
And
one
everyone's like,
person
oh God. So it's like instant ridicule too.
That's public health. That should be
And then-
public policy. That's
you know, this little blonde sorority chick's like, yes, I can get on there for less than 100 pounds. And this one person standing down there for 10 hours because they're like, fuck, it never gets down to under 400.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
We could very easily make America a healthier place. Let us put some policy into place. It would be good.
That's the pass the Barb promise right there.
Then you know all the flights and everything ever booked. The night hours are gonna be. You don't want those flights for those escalators and stuff in the airport. That's all I can think of. You don't want that flight.
This is true, but there will be, it might be a little squeezed on the planes because we're not giving anybody an extra seat.
Yeah, middle of the day will be prime time flights.
You're not going to want the you're not going to want the middle seat when you get stuck next to Pat and Kevin Williams. So of the female variety. All right, boys. Well, I have to split, but that was fun. I enjoyed that draft.
That was good. That was good. We'll put it out there. We'll see what the people think. But somebody's going to be a winner on this deal.
I'm curious. Sure. I'm curious to see who wins. I think we all put together a really strong board. So
well done. Well done.
Well done. Good work, boys. Bill.
Back at it again tomorrow. Wish me luck. The wind is going to blow 1,000,000 miles an hour. Can't wait.
Catch the ass.
Okay. Bye now.
All right. That was a solid weigh-in. So let's get into a little bit of what in the world's going on here. So you got
Pink? I was just not to interject.
Yeah.
And I could save this for later, but this potentially could be good because I brought up my notes section that I keep for the pod.
God. Here we go.
And I just saw a couple notes in my phone. And I was like, where the fuck are these from? And they're definitely from in November when I was taking some flights. So I have some notes in my phone that I think you would find interesting that would be actually decent for this.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Because we were just talking about airports a little bit.
Yeah,
so that this actually pertains.
This is a segment we haven't done in a little while anyway. So
yeah, and I was proud of myself for keeping these. Now that I'm reading them, I'm like, this is good. Like these are good.
Fire when ready.
Okay, so the first one, and I know you'll feel me on this.
All right.
Something about cranberry juice or a ginger ale on a flight just slaps.
Okay.
And it can't just be me. Because like that's the only time I ever get those two beverage options are on a plane. They're like, you know what I mean?
I've never even
heard
someone order a ginger ale that wasn't on a plane.
Yes. But
never even heard it.
And like, there's people listening to this right now being like, Bart, you're nuts. Next time you're on a plane, get a ginger ale when they ask you for your order. And I don't know what it is, but that on a flight is just,
Those airplane gingies just hit different, dude.
Yeah. Same with cranberry juice. I mean, I like cranberry juice in general. I don't drink it that much outside of it, but it's really good on a plane.
For a long time, dude, on flights, I was always like, I used to fly like crazy amount, like when I was younger too. Always, I was hitting those cran apples, dude, nonstop.
Dude, cran apple, like, I don't know if it was Ocean Spray or whatever the brand was, but that juice when I was a kid, that was like the shit. I didn't drink that much orange juice or apple regular or anything. Cran apple.
Yeah, cran apple, dude. Hits different.
Yeah.
All right.
And then this also goes along with the whole flight thing. You know, little bit more just being a little bit more open. But dude, when you get off a flight, and you just, let one loose right when you get into the tarmac area, just let her rip. Gotta be top 5, 10 experiences.
Yeah.
Well, just because you're sitting in that cabin for like 4 hours and you're like, God damn, man. Like, you're just
you just crop dust the whole goddamn terminal or what?
Dude, everybody does. You walk out of a plane and it's like,
I don't think everybody does.
That first 40 foot, 50 yards, 40 foot to 100 foot stretch, you are susceptible to like walking through some pretty bad crop dusting.
I can't say that I'm like an avid like post-flight crop duster, but like I guess I could.
Neither am I, but at this point in
Dude,
time,
it
when I kept this note, I must have gotten off the flight and been like just bubbling. And I got out and was just like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And I was like, yeah, I'll chuck it in the note section.
Oh my God, dude.
But I thought that was one too. Two things that very much have to do with flights. But yeah. Good notes on the phone, I thought. Nothing to do with
solid,
fishing
dude.
or the
That
outdoors.
is solid. That is I have one note on my phone that I put some stars by, and this was like probably 2 months ago. So
yeah, we haven't done this in a while, so that's why they're fun to look back on sometimes, because you're like, what was I thinking?
This was the only one, and I actually remember this happening, but I was this was when I was at a gas station downtown. I was like going to my sister's house or something. It's like in St. Paul, and I stop, and like, you know, all those gas stations down there, there's a lot of diversity happening in that area. And like these gas stations are kind of those like little shitty downtown ones where they got like bars on all the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I went in there to get a bag of ice, and these people were having an argument in there. And I guess I don't even know what nationality this guy was, but he was like not a fluent English speaker. And he was getting into it with the guy there. And I have put quotes around this because this is what he said. So I'll tell you what he said. And then it took me a while. I was able to figure out what this was about after about 2 minutes of being in this gas station. So they were arguing about something in various languages. I don't know, different tongues. And this, the guy kept saying that it was one stallion for each. One stallion for each is what he kept saying.
That would throw you off big time. And
he's like
downtown.
Yelling. You know what I mean?
Just one stallion for each.
But it was like it was like broken English, right? He kept yelling, it's like one stallion for each kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So eventually somebody moderated this dispute. They were talking about the guy was getting directions from the guy that was working there, and they were like probably both speaking not the same language or something. Somebody else came in there that sorted out the whole thing. And he kept telling the guy that it was like the same distance no matter which way you went. So he thought he was like, you know, the phrase like, oh, it's a horse apiece. Like you go this way, you go that way.
Oh, that one stallion each. Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I'd never heard that in my life. Not that I like hear people use that phrase a lot anyway, but I've never
using that now.
I lock it in, dude.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a horse apiece. It's one stallion each.
One stallion each, eh? One stallion each, you know?
Oh my God, dude. The looks you get, you'd be like, yeah, one stallion. Be like, what?
Anyway, that was the one I had stars by that one, so you're welcome.
No, that's good. That's good. The best part about the notes in your phone segment is, generally speaking, it's nothing very great. But when you bring it up, and
you
it's
thought it was, though,
yeah, but it's something fairly dumb that you're just like, this'll play.
And then you're trying to like conjure up the memory of it 2 months after the fact.
Yeah, you're like, what on earth? Yeah, that, like I said, I saw these notes and I was like, what are these from?
Yeah. Well, you can delete them now.
Yep. Nope, they're gone. We got new notes on our phone to worry about. Gotta start building up again.
Oh my God.
Okay, so what in the world's going on?
Yeah, you got one? You got one locked and loaded here?
Yeah, well, it's kind of two, but it just has become resolved, I guess. But in the ice fishing world, I thought it was very interesting how on red they put the Beltrami County put a vehicle restriction on it. And then so you saw this, right?
I think we were talking about it. Yeah.
So basically, when all the ice was shifting and everything, and they were rescuing people and all the stuff was going on, they were allowing like 4-wheelers and side-by-sides or whatever out. And the ice was shifting so much that Beltrami County put out like I don't know, an ordinance, or I don't know technically what it was, but you could not, the resorts were not allowed to let out machines. So people then, the resorts had to go to shuttling people, which I think is crazy. Like, dude, could you imagine, Pink, like going on a West Wind or JR's or Rogers or whatever? We are talking hundreds, if not thousands of people going up there.
Yeah.
How many wheelers and machines are they running at their resort to shuttle them out? But like the resort's got,
I don't know.
They got allowed to still run them. It was kind of an interesting deal, but still, I just thought of, if you even say you have 10 wheelers that you're shuttling people out with, you can't be like.
Do you think
you're not
is
doing
that what
more
they were
than
using?
15 groups, and you're not doing more than 20, 30 houses in an hour because they're driving them out to 13, 14 feet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. And so I guess I didn't have the details on that. Is that what they were running 4-wheelers with like a couple people at a time taking them out to like,
yeah,
fishing
like the
locations?
resorts had to run them. So I don't know necessarily how that went down or whatever, but the resorts had to shuttle people. So like people would show up with their house, they'd hook it up, drive them out to however deep and be like, this is a hot area, here you go. And then turn around and go get more people. But like we were out on Red, like, dude,
yeah,
even just to get out to that depth, like that's a 15-minute ride one way.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
You go one way, drop them off, turn around to go get the next one. You know what I mean? Like you're just thinking that numbers wise, like.
Yeah, and they have to use a machine if they're towing out like a permie, right? That's they're taking out there. Yeah, I don't know.
They couldn't take permies out, so like it was all just fish traps and shit. I don't believe they were allowing permies.
Yeah, because I mean, I saw like some photos and stuff. Like I know like some people use those airboats up there and that kind of thing, and that's cool. But I doubt the resorts have those to like get people.
Well, the airboats weren't. I don't believe they were allowed out either. There was no motorized
that was part
vehicles.
of the restriction.
Yeah, no motorized vehicles.
Is that like one of the first times they ever restricted it like that?
From what I know,
that you know.
Yeah, I don't know other than that. But what I do know is I think it just opened up either today or yesterday. So now they're allowing. I did see that. I mean, it's good for the ice industry too, because not having that early ice red push is like, I mean, crazy in terms of the ice fishing industry. So now they're allowing out 4-wheelers and maybe side by sides. I thought I saw with single axle houses, but I mean, we both know with this cold front coming, like, dude, by next Monday, there's gonna be fucking trucks out there.
I know, but between now and then is still like gonna be, like people do stupid shit like all the time.
Yes, yeah, but it's gonna be -20 up there for like 3 days.
Yeah,
they're gonna make like 7 inches of ice.
No, that's the thing. Like literally, this weekend is gonna save like the whole ice season, basically.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
Because we've been sitting here going, man, if we could just get 5 days of negative, that would be really nice. Well, we're getting it.
Yeah, but then it looked like it was going to snow a lot, and I was like, no, this is like worst case scenario. Like,
yeah, it looks
it's finally going to get cold, and then we get like 2 feet or something stupid. I'm like,
oh, dude, we're just getting little dustings, which I hope that's what it stays being. Like, if we get like 4 inches of snow on top of the ice and this cold, it'll be perfect. The bite's going to be great the rest of the year. Or for at least the foreseeable future, because there's no major storms.
Yeah. And the fish will chill out. Like you can drill on them sometimes, and like,
yeah, and just like they haven't been bothered for a while, so and there won't be trucks ripping everywhere and everything. Because I mean, dude, unless you're north of Brainerd, man, I don't know if permies are gonna get out on a lot of places. Like, I don't know if permies are gonna get out on Mille Lacs until February. Maybe.
I don't know. And who knows? I mean, this winter might end up being a lot different than you think too. Like, who knows how long it'll drag on or whatever.
Yeah.
Too.
For sure. But either way, I mean, one way or another, the walleyes close the end of February. And every week it goes by, you're like, man. So hopefully people just go get fish traps and buy a wheeler or something and are like, well, I'm going to go fish.
Yeah. Yeah. It does make you wonder, like the people that are just all in on like the ice castles and stuff and like, don't really have like a mobile setup,
Yeah, because
like they're just like, well,
dude, like that COVID hit, right? COVID hit.
Yeah,
everybody bought an ice castle.
Seems like it
or permanent. Like everybody bought one. And now post COVID, right? 23, 24 ice seasons. you haven't been able to use them because last year was the record-breaking snow.
Yeah.
And then this year there's literally no ice. So there's
Yeah, so
people
they're
sitting there who bought them that just haven't parked in their yard for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and they're just storing all their Christmas shit inside of them, and that's it.
Yeah. So it's like, that's why I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a good investment, but why didn't people are like, man, $1,500 for a portable flip over right now, that's looking like a pretty good investment compared to a $40,000 permanent shack that's parked in the front yard.
Yeah, that's basically just a shed now.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what people are into, but it sure seems like it would limit where you could go, especially like in a year like this, unless you were like just going to drive to like Canada or something. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I would think the amount of people that are going to end up putting their permanents on Red or Lake of the Woods, and, Leech, I think, is about to start letting them out too. But the amount of people that are going to go up there and just leave them there for the winter, I would imagine is going to be very high, which I mean, that should help save a lot of the resorts and stuff up north from whatever type of year it is. But locally around here, I mean, like I said, man, like if we see permanents on Lake Minnetonka this year in certain areas, I'm gonna be really surprised on a lot of places.
Yeah.
Like really surprised.
Yeah, unless we get some crazy weather.
I don't see it. But yeah, that's basically what I had, was just the stuff that's been going on up at Red. And then, I mean, obviously Lake of the Woods ice has been shifting a ton too, but that should all seize up now. But yeah, those things are gone. Cold's coming. Hopefully ice season we got a new early ice, and it is January 9th.
How late can we actually keep saying that it's early ice? I don't know. Like, is it like late early ice or like?
Well, I think it'll depend how the fish are acting. Like when we get out, we go to our early ice spots and be like, so is this a month type thing, or is this an amount of ice type thing?
I don't know. I guess I've never
should learn a lot this year. It'll be very interesting. Could be very frustrating too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we finally get ice about the time that it actually sucks really bad normally.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, so the fishing
so just
because it's mid-January, not because there's 2.5 feet of ice. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be good. I think they're gonna bite.
I do too.
Good.
I really
the
do.
weeds. I mean, the weeds are all still super alive from everywhere I've seen. I mean, we were fishing standing weeds in like 18 feet today.
Well, yeah, they never cut the light off to them,
No. So and that should mean, I mean, no winter kills this year. Life will be good.
There, you went and said it.
Yeah, you can blame me.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. All right. That was, no, I get that, dude. Like, we'll see how it plays out for sure. You got another one or no?
That's what it was kind of, the article was like, one, it got shut down, and two, it just opened up. So I was like, okay, well, now I have two, but it's just closing the door on that story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have one that kind of relates back to something we talked about on here before. So, this would have been, it's been a while, months at least. We talked about that the poaching scandal thing with the Bomars that kind of went crazy.
Oh, that was that might have been like half a year ago.
Yeah, that was a while back.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
So, that was still like being sorted out and the whole thing. Well, they are back in the headlines yet again.
Oh no.
So, and I don't know why, they are like the most controversial couple, it seems, in like the outdoor world when it comes to just like being in the headlines for like crazy shit happening. So, because initially they were the ones that like they were in that thing where Under Armour dropped them because they speared that bear in Canada, and then after that they made it like illegal to spear bears in Canada or something. And they put out a video about that, and it got whatever serious blowback. Then this kind of poaching scandal thing happens where they're kind of caught up in that outfitter that was doing a bunch of shady stuff. Then that seems to have kind of like blown over and people stopped caring. Well, now they started posting on social media. So they've been going to Africa a lot to hunt, and I don't know if that's strategic or not, but they just posted that. So Josh Bomar, the dude, killed with a bow what is supposedly like a new pending world record crocodile. Okay. And the pictures are absolutely with a bow. Yes.
Jesus.
And yeah, it's like 16 feet something inches. I don't know what the exact details are on it, but the pictures are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Of this thing. And then, and I guess I would have just thought, what, like, that's cool. Like, I don't know how many people like hunt crocodiles typically anyway. So I can't imagine there's like,
with the bow.
Well, right. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't imagine there's like all these people that are like, oh my God, that's such a, like, oh, that's a good, like, how would you even know? Like nobody hunts you know what I mean? But so whatever, they're claiming it's new, like pending world record or whatever, which I guess would be cool. And I'm sure like Safari Club International or something could verify that. But all of a sudden there's all this blowback that there's a bunch of people in this part of Africa where they did this hunt that are claiming that it was not legal, like where they shot this thing or what the deal was. So I don't know, like this is all like fairly recent information, like the past week or so. So I don't have like a ton of details on this, but it's kind of flaring up on the hunting interwebs, if you will.
I would imagine.
That people are talking about this mainly because like it just seems like every time these people do something, it ends up like headline news. That like they either did something that they weren't supposed to do, or people are maybe it wasn't, maybe it's fine, but people are like accusing them of that, especially now that it's like in Africa. Like this isn't like they went to Colorado and like, did something stupid. So it's like basically I guess global news, these people now. I don't know what the deal is, but if you want to check, like there's a lot of like half-baked information on this, so I don't know like what's legit, what's not. Like I'm not gonna say like they actually did something they weren't supposed to or whatever, but I think it might be something similar to like that lion thing that went down with that dude. Remember that dentist guy or whatever that shot that lion?
Oh yeah.
I think it might be something similar to that, where maybe it was legit or maybe not, but like people are just butthurt about the whole thing. I don't know. But if you hear anything about it, well, and I guess they filmed the whole thing and they haven't released like the whole video, but they've posted like a bunch of small clips from the video on their social media accounts. And so I think this was in Tanzania, and like the government there is like launching this huge investigation. So I can't even imagine what it's like being caught up in something like that. You know what I mean? Like to have an international government like accusing you or investigating you for something like that. Like this isn't like the DNR. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I haven't heard or seen anything where they like addressed that, like that they said, like, oh, here's the deal. Like they're just kind of like letting it happen right now. So there's, no statement from them saying like, hey, like this looks bad, but like it was legit or whatever. So there's potential that this could end up being like another thing kind of against them very soon. So we'll see how it plays out.
At what point is it like, are they even doing anything anymore? Like, do they still have sponsors and stuff?
They do, but like they're creating their own companies too. So like they're like working with the brands that they've created, or like they have like partnerships through, other things, but they do like they own their own companies, they own their own media business, they do a lot of these things. So it's like I don't think they're reliant on necessarily other people for like funding or like doing things. So I think that's kind of their track record, is like, not that, I mean, I don't know, like I've watched a ton of their stuff. They do some pretty badass stuff, and definitely push like the boundaries of, what people are doing in the outdoors. So I think there's like some good and bad there, but by playing that game, like I think you're always kind of on the line of like, is what you're doing legal or not? And I think that's where they get caught up sometimes. But like they do as much or more hunting than almost anyone in the industry, So it's crazy to see like them getting like negative, I guess like press over and over and over again, but it doesn't like seem to like stop them from doing what they're doing, Whereas like a lot of people, they would get that happens once or twice to them and they're just like MIA
gone
forever,
Yeah. Vanish.
Yeah. So
That's why I'm curious. It's like you would imagine they'd be blacklisted, but
yeah. But like I said, they have they're like over 1 million subs on like YouTube and shit like that. So it's like they're a huge,
yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, I'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep people posted if anything crazy happens there, because it is it's sometimes it's like hard to find info, but I think with this one being like a international scale, like there's going to be some press on it, because I don't think Tanzania gives a shit about what people find out.
No.
I wouldn't.
I would imagine not. That would be a country I would not. Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm like, oh yeah, I know Tanzania. Like what?
I don't at all.
But I just get the vibe that they're, like if something's not legit, like they're probably gonna like say it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But anyway, so I just thought that was interesting that it's like it seemed like they just got over the hump of that last like controversial.
They're like,
thing.
here we are again.
And like, and you probably know that it's going to be controversial before you post this. And like, you're sitting on this like Instagram photo of this crocodile you just killed. And you're like, it's a world record. Like, we're going to post this and people are going to be pissed. And then you just like click share.
Yeah.
And then just wait
like,
for it. Yep,
here we go. I'm going to watch.
I can't even imagine that feeling, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think I want that feeling.
Yeah, I don't know, but like the initial reel that they posted of it had like almost 500,000 views on the reel. Yeah, I don't know. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
That is
so
very, very nuts.
So anyway, I'll keep an eye. Like I said, it looks like maybe they've posted a couple videos since then that might address some of this, but I don't think they like directly are saying whether what they did was like,
I guess we'll find out in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be able to have an update on it.
Yeah.
But other than that, what else we got, Pink? What are we rolling into?
I think we got I think we got a little time left here. Let's just get into maybe you want to do a little story time action. We haven't done that in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to get in?
I was gonna say, what are you thinking? Because I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, we still haven't talked Montana. We keep kicking that can down the road, so we could do that. Or we could talk about, let's see, when's this going to come out? Tomorrow, probably, huh?
Yes.
We could give people a little preview of the next video from last weekend.
That'll be out in a week. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Let's do that first. Let's do that first. Let's talk a little bit about ice.
Yeah, for sure we can. I mean, the next video that'll be out Thursday is finishing up Ottertail, which this is right after you cook the Euros. So this next day is when we were in the ground blizzard.
Yeah. And I will say that, dude, that recipe has gotten some serious traction over the past
week.
It
has.
For whatever reason.
I don't know why and I'm glad that one did, because that one deserves it, because it's that good. Like I've told everybody, I've been like, it's that good. Like just go through the effort once and do it.
Yeah. But like, it's weird because we've posted a lot of ones that were good and occasionally one like hits and it like resonates with people. And then like you see it all over. And this is like one of those ones.
Yeah. No, it's been everywhere. And the people who are sharing it, like love seeing it. And it's like some actually like fairly high profile people too. I've been like, look at that. That's sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's been sweet. But we finished up Ottertail. The next one will be in a pretty wicked ground blizzard for part of it. And then just finishing up that early ice swing. I think it'll be nice too. I'm excited to start posting videos from recent. And I think what people can get excited about is we have 2 videos from within 60 miles of the metro that'll be coming out. And one of them is more than likely going to end up being a film. Like it's probably going to be really long. like 55 minutes to maybe an hour and a half. And it'll be cool because it's going to be a showcase of the last month and almost a month-ish to a month and a half-ish of fishing backwaters. And basically, like,
fired up, dude.
There's ice, there's not ice. There's sketchy ice, there's not ice. There's sketchy ice again, there's not ice. And then finally, we kind of got to put a little bit of cap on it. Over the weekend, me, Waldo, and Griff were able to get out and got into a really good bite. And yeah, people love the backwater stuff, so that'll be good to get that rolling. With that said, there's still, I mean, when we filmed last weekend, there was not a lot of ice, and there still isn't right now, but that's going to change very rapidly.
Yeah, but it sounded like it wasn't like deterring people from going. Like you said, there was a decent number of people.
Yeah, it seemed like last weekend, from what I saw across the state, it seems like last weekend was kind of everyone was like, all right, the holidays are over. I'm done waiting. I'm going somewhere. And it seems like a lot of people went fishing, whether it was up north or kind of where we were, or just all around. It seems like people kind of were fed up with it and they finally got out. But yeah, so we got into that good bite, and then we were able to go get on another bite within the metro and have a little bit more of pink cooking and all us hanging out.
Yeah, and that was fun. So this past weekend we stayed up at your house, which was fun. Like it's fun when we can all like get together and stay in one spot. Like I enjoy that. I think everyone kind of does. Like it's kind of fun just hanging, and it feels more like you're on a trip, even though we're like not.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that with a lot of the episodes we've posted. Is just as long as two of us are together, or three of us or something, and we're showing it, like people like seeing the behind the scenes and everything going on there. But it gets really tricky to film in the metro because, like, the reason we film in the metro is we all live here. So it's like I can just drive there from my house. But now we're fairly spread out, so we kind of have little base camps all over the metro, which is actually works out pretty well for us.
Yeah. You just got to get some more beds, dude.
Yeah,
or like another couch or something.
Well, I had 2 air mattresses I purchased, and we just didn't pull them out.
I know,
and they're like
big,
a whole thing. They're like big, nice air mattresses, and we just didn't pull them out. So but yeah, we're still getting settled. So yeah, we need to get another couch or something. But it was nice to all be together in a place and just get that rolling again. And I think all of us right now, I mean, and we've said it before, but it's just crazy being like, okay, yeah, now we're gonna get to go and go catch fish, and you look and you're like, dude, it's mid-January. Like by this time, we are normally humming, just crushing stuff, having fun. Like, here we go. Now let's go here. We've been here. We've done this. There's been people here. Like it's been this like, dude, it's been this like 5 to 6 week tease of being like, God, I can't wait till we go here.
And you're still like kind of clawing for every inch, you're like trying to make it happen still. And
now I'm glad this weekend we're gonna get a bunch of cold. We're gonna get a bunch of ice. And like I was telling Griff today, I was like, dude, by next like Monday or Tuesday, I think I'm gonna be able to go back that trailer up and just go rip that snowmobile wherever we want to go.
Which would be nasty.
Just to be able to right away be like, okay, no walking, done.
Yeah.
And that's
I would enjoy that. Well, and it like keeps you in the game,
Yeah, well,
like
and
you can make moves
we need to be efficient.
Well, that
especially like I think the biggest thing we can talk about from this weekend, and it's not necessarily story time, Pink, but it's just people see it in the video, but we appreciate our passive Barb listeners. So those of you who watch both and are here, I think so this weekend you guys will end up seeing it in the videos, and we can give a little bit away here, but we all this weekend basically hit fuck it mode, I would, for lack of a better term.
I would say that's accurate. Yeah, fuck it mode is good.
Yeah, and we're like, no more, like, we said we're coming back to the metro, and we've been like, oh, we need to go here and get a few videos, or do this and get a few videos, and we had some really cool trips planned. and we canceled all of them. Not
Yeah,
because of lack of ice, and that's the thing. It's not because of lack of ice there. It's not because we couldn't go catch big fish and do cool things there. It's because we really want to do it here.
Well, and it's like it's exciting to be like doing what we want to do versus like I feel like to your point, we were kind of getting in this mode where we were just like getting content to get, like we got to get a video made.
Yeah.
So we go and like do something. And like, this past weekend when we were on that lake and we're catching those eaters and we're like working for them and we're all looking at each other like, this ain't it, dude.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, I mean, it's a good video and it's the Crappie Chronicles, but it's not what people fell in love with. And for the people who've watched the Chronicles forever, I know like a lot of people have really enjoyed watching us travel, go experience a bunch of places and go along those adventures. And we have too, but like when we say we hit fuck it mode, we are back to our game of 18 within 60.
And
like that's all we're doing.
We're very excited about it.
Yeah, we are going to document it very well. And it's going to be like, if we're going to have an ice season like this and it's going to go like this, like we're going to try to do something epic. Like we were already planning on trying to do it, but we thought we were going to be able to do other stuff. And now we're like, okay, soul goal 18.
Yeah. And I think, like we talked about this for like hours and hours and hours, but I think we've come up with like kind of a plan to do it that is going to like shake things up for the series a little bit too.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I actually told Griff about it and he was all on board.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think this is going to be sick.
Yeah, I gotta chat with Waldo and fill him in on the full encompass of what it's gonna take. It is gonna be a bitch editing, but
yeah,
it's gonna be really cool. People are gonna get really long videos. They're gonna be epic stories, and now we just need one fish to cooperate, and hopefully one does, and then hopefully a couple more do.
Yeah,
so
if we pull this off, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I don't. We've been saying it for 4 years. Well, last year was kind of, I mean, we thought we could get one in Maine, but
it wouldn't have been the same.
No, it wouldn't have been the same. And I think that's what we all realized traveling and like when we had these discussions and is we really want to do it here because that's what the whole series was based on. So for everybody who's watched forever, like that's, and now listen to Pass the Barb. Like we love you guys. You guys have followed us over to Pass the Barb, so we'll let you know. Like that is what's coming. Like next week starts that, and we have a lot of very big fish on camera already. So it's gonna be good. And we're really, really, really excited about this ice season. And just, I mean, we all talked about the plan of like, dude, you like kick the can and look at each other and you're like, what if we just said fuck it and just did this?
Like, and it's like, yeah, what if?
What if we just did this? And we were like, well, why don't we?
And I don't think everyone's expecting it either, which I think is like an awesome curveball. Like, I know we said like, yeah, we're going to fish the Metro more and do that again this year. But it was like with the way the ice conditions were and everything, I don't think anyone's expecting us to do that. And we're just coming out and saying, you know what? Yup.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So that's and we're gonna have about 5 weeks to do it. That's the way I'm seeing it right now. So
all gas, baby.
All gas. And luckily we are very not burnt out right now. Actually, it's just like Griff and I are out there today. Like now at this point, we're just like bored. We're just like, when can we just go?
Can we just go now?
Can we just go do this? Like, dude, I haven't even rigged like 2 or 3 of my rods yet.
It's January 9th. This weekend, it's going to be like engines have been idling, dude. Like, let's rip.
Yeah, I am so excited.
Yes.
And that's, I think a lot of the people who've watched the series know when we get excited, that's when like good stuff happens. So we're pumped, but like for everybody, the one thing we will be able to tell you is for everybody who watches this series, there will not be, I don't believe there will be one day we go onto the ice where we're not just going after one fish.
Swinging.
Yeah. So we might catch some little ones in the process. I mean, that obviously happens, but like,
but I'm going to be mad about
there's
it
no
now.
more us looking at you going like, oh, we're going to go on a meat run quick. Like, we already got that stockpiled. Pink has the crappies. We have the crappies.
We were naughty to him
food.
this weekend.
Yeah, we have the crappies we need for food, for cooking. It is now just go get a big one, and hopefully they cooperate, which I think they will. I think they will. So they've had a long break.
Yep. It's time to do it to them.
Yeah, very much so. Time to do it to them, and we're very pumped up about it. So we hope everybody else is pumped up for the ice season too. I think what makes me so excited for this too is knowing, like, dude, it is mid-January. Like, we can just go gas for 5 weeks, and then like it's gonna be basically spring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh man, another month of winter. It's like we've been waiting for winter.
Right. Like right about now is when it usually starts like slowing down, and you're like, oh, you know.
Yeah. No, it's now you can just pedal to the metal the rest of the winter, and I'm very excited for that. It was nice to drive the snowmobile around today. Because they've just been sitting in my front yard. Like, we got them on like November 5th or something this year so that we could have them at the Thorn deal. And then I was like, yeah, you know, maybe we'll get some early ice and get to go rip around and look around. They have literally sat in my front yard for 2 months.
Other than that one weekend.
One weekend, we took them up north and we were able to use them
2 days.
2 days.
1 day, 2 days, I think.
Yeah, and then we pulled the wheeler off for one thing, but like it's we have not gotten to use. It's ridiculous. We get these sweet Polaris machines, and they're like, but you don't get to use them.
Well, they're going to be putting in some work here pretty quick, so I'm not too concerned about it.
They will be. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with the ice season, unless you got anything to add. I mean, I think that's the thing we can tell the Passive Barb listeners that they should be pumped about. And I mean, we're not spoiling anything either, because the chance of us actually catching an 18 on camera is so low. But
true.
We're aiming for that percent.
But like we're about to do it. So
yeah. We're due. That's what you say, right? We're due.
Yeah. Yeah. But I will say, when we do catch one, we're probably not going to spoil it on here. You're going to have to watch it.
Yeah, no, we won't. Be like, yeah, I don't know, fishing sucked, kind of, actually.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Just ain't biting.
Yeah. No, if we got one, I've been waiting to edit that video for 4 years. I have so much film, so much stuff. Like, that'd be cool.
No, I got my juices flowing, like talking about it the other day and everything, and I was like, we're doing the right thing. Like, this is
that's the thing. You need the juices flowing.
Yeah, for sure. Sick.
But yeah, what if you want to tell the people about what went down in Montana? Otherwise, we can be good. I don't know. It's up to you.
Let's do it, because we've been kind of pushing this one, and we're getting like further and further away from it. So let's get it out there for the people.
Yeah. What do you got?
So this was basically my last trip of the season, right before ice season. So this would have been this was right before Thanksgiving that I went on this trip.
Yeah.
Yep. So basically, this was a deer hunt in southeast Montana, and was just like a small group. So it was just me and my dad and my buddy TJ went out there, and we'd all hunted there last year just with a bunch of doe tags, and went and smashed some muleys, and it was fun. And we kind of learned a little bit more about the area, and figured we'd try to get some buck tags for this year, which ended up working out. So me and my dad both drew mule. Well, in Montana, you get it's like the general deer tag. So it's just like an any deer tag, basically.
Yeah.
So it's whitetail or mule deer, and you can shoot a buck or a doe with that tag. And then I told him about it, and he was like, yeah, dude, I definitely want to come to that. And I think he I don't know if he put in for a draw or whatever, but he ended up scoring a doe tag for that too, a whitetail doe tag. So we had 3 deer tags. We're going out there for basically 4 days. And I felt pretty confident, like, dude, we're going to go out there and we'll like smash deer. We'll get one every day. It'll be super fun. Like, you know, like it had been previously. There was quite a few of them around, and didn't seem too hard to come. Like if you went out hiking and everything, you were going to get them. So that was our game plan. And this year, crazy, because last year when we went, there was quite a bit of snow and the temps were like crazy low. So it was like we were camping. We just put up a wall tent out there and camped it. And last year we had quite a bit of snow. We ended up having to run like heaters constantly because it was below freezing every day. So just like sleeping out there and stuff was, you had to keep heaters running and that kind of thing. This year, super like not like that. Pretty mellow out there, 0 snow. So everything was just brown and it just looked like it does out there in the summertime still. And so we got out there. I think we ended up driving out there like on I want to say like a Thursday, something like, or Wednesday night, got there Thursday morning kind of thing. And we set up our camp. And we just kind of game plan that we were just going to go hike up to a couple spots we'd hunted before and just like check things out. And it was like apparent very quickly that it was not going to be like the year prior, like the deer numbers. And I knew about this because like they put out like population estimates, that kind of thing, like that you can like do research on. Right.
Yeah.
And it's this part of the state is, like it's, like there's areas where they got hit harder than others with like winter kills and stuff like that. And they've been giving out probably more doe tags than they probably should have been for a number of years. So like the deer numbers are just like way down and like exponentially down from last year, even to this year. And so we were putting in like hella work just to even like get eyes on animals at all. And so like I don't like to base like a whole trip on like day one, right? You go out, you don't get into them, and it's not like, oh dude, we're totally screwed, like but it was obvious that it's like this is going to be a lot more difficult than we expected probably. And there was probably about the same, like there weren't a lot of other hunters out there, which is nice. The area we were in was like not that we had to ourselves, but like you could hike as much as you want and not run into anyone else pretty much.
Yeah.
And we checked some stuff, and I think we saw the first day we were kind of talking like it doesn't look super good, but if we see like just like a legal, well, I mean any buck is legal out there, but like just like a medium small, like I might shoot like a smaller buck just to be like, I don't know how easy this is going to be. Well, day one, we get into some does and everything, and we put a couple stalks on, and we actually had the first like kind of stalk of the trip. We all were on together. So all three of us kind of came over this little rise, and we got right on these muleys that were bedded in this little brushy draw. And it was like a small 2x2 mule deer and a couple of does in there. And we got to probably like 50 yards on them. It's a rifle hunt. So that would have been like done deal. Mm-hmm. But, we all kind of opted to like not shoot, and whatever. And like I said, TJ had a doe tag, but it was for a whitetail only. So, we kind of just like had to let the does go on that. And he was kind of like frothing just to be like, if we see one, like it's game on, like I'm going to shoot one. So I was, this was definitely more, well, I shouldn't say it was just to be like a meat mission, because we had just come off of shooting 2 bulls in Colorado, and we were like, average just a ridiculous amount of meat, but it wasn't like I was like going to be a trophy. I was like, oh, I'm holding out till I see Mr. Big out here. Like I just wanted to get one and have a good trip and just, have some fun out there. And it's fun country to hunt in. And so that first day we got into a couple of deer only, and past that one smaller buck. And we did a ton of glassing, a lot of hiking, a lot of glassing, and just like, we're not turning up deer. And so we opted to hike kind of deeper into a section that we hadn't spent much time in, and had some, figured that's just fresh. Like we'll go way back in, and the hiking out there, like you can cover a lot of miles without feeling it really. Like it's not like being in Colorado where you're at high elevation and like, it's steep and you're really busting your ass. Like this part of Montana is like a lot more open, and don't get me wrong, there's some steep stuff, but it's like low elevation and you can just kind of cruise around. Like it just feels like you're walking around here, so if you hang on 10 miles in a day, it's like, whatever, like, don't really feel that. But yeah, we didn't end up scoring anything on day 1. Day 2, we were talking that night, and then it was kind of like, man, there's not a lot of deer around. Like, maybe we should just kill the next buck we see, kind of thing. And so and I'm in my head, I'm like, dude, I know there's still some good ones here. Like, I kept saying, if I see a 4x4, I'll probably go after him. Even if it's a smaller one. I just want like just a solid frame buck. Whatever. I'd be cool with that. So we go and we hunt in the morning and not much doing. And then we end up cruising back further into this like basin that we had seen on the map. And we'd seen it through like spotting scopes before, but we never really, I guess, put, much of any time into it.
Yeah.
And like we get back in there. Because in the morning, we went to a cool spot and we saw some deer, but never had like anything that we could go after. So we changed locations, hiked into this spot, go back into this kind of ravine area, and it was really hot that day. And so, like we were kind of hiking, and we ended up just getting all sweated up getting into the spot because it was kind of a far rip in there.
Yeah.
And kind of the game plan was like, TJ and I were hunting together, and then my dad was gonna like take whatever other route. So there was an area that we were gonna go basically around this basin up there. We were gonna stay on the top of it, be like looking down in, and we were gonna go one direction, he was gonna go the other, and we just kind of like hunt our way out. And then we just were like, oh, we'll just meet up at camp at dark, or after dark, like whatever.
Yeah.
And so we split up. And it's probably like 20 minutes after we split up, and we had just done like a little ass kicker getting up this little steep section. And we just sit down, like there's a little shaded spot in this little pine block, and we're like, oh, let's just chill here and we can glass a little bit. And we're sitting there and hear a shot from like right behind us. And I was like, it had to have been him, taking a shot. And I knew like any of the shooting was in like decently close range to kind of like where he was going. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, that's cool,
Yeah.
And so like when you hear like a shot from where like somebody else in your group is, that's usually like, oh, I'm stoked,
Yeah.
And then like maybe 3 or 4 seconds go by, and then I hear another shot, and I'm like, okay, well maybe I had to like, follow up shot, whatever. And then like 2 seconds go by, and then I hear like another shot, and I'm like, oh fuck, that's not good. Because when you don't, and it's weird because when like when you're rifle hunting, a lot of times you can tell like if it was a miss, like from very far away, like based on what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And all like these shots, they sounded solid, like they sounded like they were impacting something. And I was like, I don't know, man. And we were in a spot where there was like there was no way to contact each other. Right. And
Yeah.
I even had like an inReach with me, which is like, so you can text, like satellite text.
Yeah.
But it was like the service, like everything was so shitty where we were, like you'd send it and it would take like 15 minutes to send. And so like, I have no idea what's going on. So we just decided we're just going to like, we'll just hike back towards that way, and maybe we'll see them. And so we kind of hike out to the rim of this basin. So we're standing basically on like a cliff. And luckily his phone starts ringing and he answers it, and we get the whole thing. And so he called, and he's basically telling us, he's like, oh, I got a buck down, and I was hyped down. I'm like, we got a deer down day 2.
Yeah.
Sick. And I have no idea like how big it is or anything. I don't even think he said really. I think he was pretty hyped. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's big even. And he's telling us like on the phone, he's like, oh yeah, there was like 5 other bucks in there. And I'm like, no shit. So we basically just crawl out to this cliff, and we just like post up for a little bit. We're just like laying on this thing, kind of waiting for him to like hike down into the bowl, so we knew where to go. Because we could see him on like a cliff across from us, right? Because we're just basically on 2 cliffs looking at each other.
Yeah.
And we're glassing down in the bottom, and there's just like deer all over the place. Like we're watching groups of does moving around, and he'd already like shot down into this little basin 3 times. And eventually he starts walking down the kind of the.
Is it super typical to see that many? Like
yeah, that when we were there, yeah, like a lot. This was like like I said, right before Thanksgiving. So it was like the peak of the rut, basically.
Okay,
out there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the bucks are like they're pushing does around, and they're kind of, a lot of the deer tend to group up a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not uncommon that you would get in a situation where you like are seeing a lot. But like I said, the deer have been very spread out, hard to find. We got into this one situation where there was a lot of them in one basin, which is exciting, right? Because it's possible that if one of those does is like in heat or whatever, that it's pulling a lot of bucks into that area too. Because they can smell that on the wind and come from a long way to go check that out. So, and he had said that he'd seen a number of bucks, and I think the one he shot, I believe he said it was like squaring up to fight with another buck right when he shot it, which is pretty sweet. He said it was all like bristled up and they were kind of getting ready to do it. But so we hiked down there. He was hyped, and it was like a 2x2, not like a super big buck, but it was awesome. Like, and I think it was a fairly long shot too. I don't know if it was like maybe like a 300-yard shot or so. Like off of a cliff, which was kind of dope, like shooting down into this basin. So we all kind of get down there and we all, we're celebrating whatever. And we end up cutting it up right there. And this is like in the afternoon. So we started hiking out like right before dark, I'll say, because we thought, oh, maybe we'll get out of here with enough light to like kind of glass or maybe turn one up on the way back. But we ended up doing the hike out in the dark, and it was like an absolutely like gorgeous night. like just super bright moon, and like the stars were out. Like it was badass. And we were just hiking, like no headlamps, which is kind of like
just a nice night for once.
Yeah. And it was just like, it was nice to be out there. And, we were just like, we had a successful day, and we're like packing a buck out. Like this is, everyone's got meat in their backpack. Like this is what you're here to do, it's like kind of that vibe. Right. And so we make, I think we're like maybe a third of the way back to camp by the time it gets dark. So we make our way all the way down to the tent, and we're like, dude, yeah, this is sick. Like we're eating, mule deer tonight, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, so we end up making it back to camp, crushing some food. And then figuring in the morning, we're like, well, let's all, maybe we'll hunt back through that area again tomorrow, kind of thing, and like see what's going on. So we try that. So now it's day 3. And we hike all the way back in there in the morning. We're like not seeing shit. I think we jumped a couple of does on, and like I keep going back to like the year prior, and it was like everywhere you went, you got into deer. Like you hike over the next ridge, boom, you're on some more. Hike over the next ridge, you're on some more. This was like you'd hike several miles and then get into maybe like 1 or 2 deer. Like it was just like crazy different. Absolutely unbelievable different. And so now it's day 3, and my thinking was like, okay, well, let's just all go hike. Like now we're kind of all hunting together still, because my he doesn't have a tag anymore. But I kind of kept feeling like maybe we should split up and do something, because like TJ's tag was for a whitetail, and the whole, like, I obviously still wanted to like chase muleys around, even though I could shoot a whitetail if I wanted. But I was like, that was what I was there for. I like hunting mule deer, and I was like, that's what I want to chase. But the reality is, like, we are not going to find a whitetail where we are hunting right now.
Yeah.
And I knew he really wanted to get one too. So I didn't want to just be like, dude, no, let's just do this. So I was kind of like, all right, well, maybe we should, like figure something out. But he was like, he wanted to hunt with us too, and kind of do that. So I was like, okay, well, let's give it today, see what happens. And then kind of like figure out a new plan. So we hunted that day, and we went and hiked a whole bunch of new stuff we'd never been to before. Like we went really far into this area. And it's like a cool area, because it's like probably been cattle ranches for like hundreds and hundreds of years. Right. So there's like, you go back in, there's like all these cool rock formations, like way the hell back in there. And like, people have been carving shit into these like limestone little cliff things since like the 1800s,
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of cool like stuff like that. And like, people carving their name in there and the date, and I don't know, that kind of stuff like kind of fires me up. Like that's cool.
Yeah. It's just cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you see, like the interesting thing with mule deer is especially like bigger bucks, they make these like beds like along cliff faces and stuff where they kick out like the dirt and the sand and everything, and they like cut it into the ground like deep, like that they can like lay in there.
Okay.
But like they'll use it for like years and years and years and years kind of thing. So like it's like a bedding spot, right?
Yeah.
That these deer, have created and they use. So it was cool getting up in some of these cliff bands and like we weren't jumping deer out of them, but seeing some of those places, and you're just like, God damn, like it would be so sick to see one laying in there, like just on this like cliff face. Like if you picked him off from, so far away, like you could totally move on them and that kind of stuff. So we had a cool time up there, just kind of going around, and we got in on a doe in the morning, that we were kind of watching, and I kept saying, I'm like, man, I'd really like to kill a deer today, and TJ is put like nonstop, like we'd see a deer, he's like, you should shoot it for sure.
He's like, dude, come on.
Like he just wanted one to be dead, dude. He's like, yeah, no, like, so we see this doe right away. He's like, dude, that's a pretty big doe. Like, you should probably get it. And I'm like, come on, like it's the morning,
dude,
like,
chill.
Like, but then I'm kind of like, I mean, I would, so
yeah.
And then of course we're like watching this thing. We're kind of like mulling that over, and I'm kind of just like delaying making a decision because I'm like, come on, like, let's turn up a buck here, and then we did, and actually a pretty solid buck got up in front of us while we were kind of laying. We had the spotting scope out and the whole deal, and buck gets up, and it's maybe like 200 yards away, has no idea we're there, just kind of like milling around, and I was looking at him through my rifle scope, and like the angle I had on him, he didn't look real big. And so I didn't get like super excited right away, like immediately, like throw my bipod out and get ready to shoot. I was just kind of like looking at him, and those guys were looking at him through the scope, and they're like, dude, I think he's pretty good. I think he's pretty good. And I thought they were just pumping my tires like, oh, you should shoot this buck,
Yeah. And you're like, okay.
And so I'm like, let me look at him, like, I don't know. And so I crawl over there and I get in the scope, and I'm eyeing him up, and he turned his head a bit, and I was like, oh, he looks all right. He's straight 3x3, pretty tall frame. And I was like, okay, maybe if it's like a chip shot or we get in on him, it's super cool. Like, yeah, all right. So he ends up feeding over this ridge. We all kind of grab our stuff and start moving that way. And I was still like on the fence, but I was like, let's just make a play and see what happens, So,
yeah.
Okay. So we start cruising down there, and like halfway to where we thought he was, we kind of lost him. And then we ended up picking him back up on a different ridge, like coming back towards us. Like he'd gone out of the little hole we were in and circled around the top and came back. And then he was kind of facing us coming back. And I looked at him through the scope on that one, and I was like, he ain't bad, dude. Like he's not like a giant one or anything, but he had kind of a cool look to him. And I was like, at that moment, I was kind of like, all right, if we get a shot at this buck, like I'm killing him kind of thing, And I felt good about it then. Cause that's the thing with like deciding to kill. It's like, it's kind of like got to fire you up, or like something's got to make you want to actually get them. You know what I mean? Cause it's like, it's a weird deal. I don't know why that is either. But is the moment like your mind clicks into like, yeah, all right, game on mode. It's like totally different. So I did. I was like, all right, I'm in. Let's do this thing. So we start making moves, and this is when we're in all these like limestone cliffs and big rock formations and stuff. It was kind of a badass spot, and we start sleuthing through there, and I thought made a really, really good play. And we get to, like the last little bit where it's like, okay, we come right over this. They should be down in this little ravine in front of us. We make the move. We get over the top, and there's like nothing there. And then we end up moving up slightly to where we're now on kind of like another cliff face. And there's a couple deer bedded right below us. And we got kind of excited for a minute because we thought it was going to be the buck and this doe that we'd been watching. But it ended up just being like a couple does bedded down there, and they picked us off and got the hell out of there pretty quick. But it was cool. We got to watch them at like pretty close range for a while, and they bailed. And the thing out there, it's kind of demoralizing. Like when you bump some animals, they run like over the horizon,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you're like, oh, so they're like gone. Okay. So now you're like starting over kind of thing. So it was like, all right, well, that was fun. but now we had no idea where this buck went, and we figured, well, maybe, let's just hike up to the next base. And so we did that. Well, we play that game for a while, and it's just like, we're not turning up anything but some little mule deer does, and hike a few more miles. We ran into a couple other hunters back there, and we chatted with them, and it was like it seemed like a dude and his daughter that had been hunting there like for a while, or like a number of years, and kind of said the same thing about the numbers. They were like, man, this is crazy. Like, we've never seen it this bad in here, kind of thing. And they hadn't seen, well, at least they didn't say that they had seen any like mature deer bucks at all. So we get on top of this hill, and we all are kind of like taking a nap or whatever, just figured, oh, we're at like a vantage point under these trees. Let's just chill for a while, midday kind of thing. And we're there taking a nap, and of course, like an entire herd of goddamn mule deer comes by us at like 40 yards while we're taking this nap. And so I end up kind of like rushing out there and getting set up, figuring if they ever stop running. They literally came by us, had us pegged, ran down this big hill in front of us. I got set up on a bipod, but it was all does. So never took a shot on that. And then we just started hiking our way back towards our camp. And we ended up running into one more buck that got us excited, that was chasing a doe. And we just never caught up to him. Like I saw him. We worked up to the top of this hill, peeked over, and ended up running into like a spike buck at like very close range on the other side. So I'm looking at him through my scope, and I was like, I really don't want to shoot that deer. Plus, that's 100% not the one we saw. So, that was kind of like our evening that night, and we just kind of kept hiking out, and we came kind of right back through the same area. My dad shot that one the night before. And it's another one of these things, like when you hike out from somewhere like that, you typically are hiking out in the dark, right? So you're hiking out, and especially if you're not with other people, like your mind starts running a little bit. You start thinking about stuff while you're just on these long night hikes, because there's like nothing to look at. You're just kind of cruising, And that night we weren't real chatty that night. I mean, we were all hunting together, so there's 3 guys, but we were just kind of cruising out, So I'm just mulling over in my head. I'm like, okay, so tomorrow's day 4. We have basically tomorrow, and then we had to leave the morning of day 5. So we didn't have like a full. So basically, we have one day and like a half a morning left.
Yeah. So
in my head, I'm like, we're gonna have to split up. I was like, I don't feel right. I don't even feel right about it. I'm just like, dude, like he's one of my best buddies anyway. So I was like, it's all good. But I was just like, dude, in my head, I'm like, I wanted us to shoot 3 deer. I was like, there's no reason we shouldn't be tagging out here. And I'm just like, let's make this happen. And in my head, I'm thinking that. So we go back, and and that night was sick. We actually, we pulled some meat out of one of the meat bags, and I made these flatbread pizzas with like backstrap on them on the Traeger in the camp.
I think I remember seeing that picture.
Oh yeah, I posted it. It was awesome. It was just so good, and it was like after a long day of hunting, and everything just tastes better then too. And like, yeah, and we had the smoker set up in the campsite because I had that big battery thing out there. So we had this thing on lock. We're camped in this little canyon, and wall tents all lit up. We had a big, whatever. It was all good. It seemed very chill. And then the game plan was like, all right, we're going to basically split up. You guys go and maybe see if you can, find something, and I'll just do my own thing. And I guess I don't exactly remember what we did in the morning, but I know it didn't work. But the afternoon was when it was like, all right, I'm hiking back in there, and these other guys were going to go basically down to this river area that they had found. I think maybe in the morning or something, that they were like, they felt confident that there was, some deer down there, and they were going to scope it out. So they take the truck and bail, and we only had one truck out there because TJ had flown to Minnesota and drove out with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I'll just hunt from camp. Like, I know where I'm going, and they take off. I grab my shit and just start hiking. And I hiked like maybe like an hour and a half in. And I hiked back to the same basin that my dad shot that buck in. And my plan was like, I felt confident enough that I would run into something, and there's like 3 basins back to back to back. And I was like, there's going to be at least a deer in one of these freaking things, And I don't know. It's kind of like fishing in that way when you got to just go with your gut on like where you got to be at what time.
Yeah.
It's just like stuff just kind of comes together sometimes, and I don't know why. But I go back there and I jump 2 deer in the ravine before the basin I wanted to get into. So it's like a super steep, like washed, probably like some creek drainage washed that thing out a bajillion years ago or whatever. I don't know. Super steep. Go down in there, blew like 5 deer out, and they all headed towards the basin that I was planning to go to. They were all does, but I was like, okay, well, they're going in there. Like, I seriously doubt they're going to like leave that once they're in.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking, if there is any hope that one of those is like a hot doe that could potentially drag a buck in there, because there were bucks around, we were seeing them, just not often. And I'm like, if they hold up in there, there's like a very real chance that in the evening when because like the thermals start dropping and like that wind is flushing out of one of those big basins, that a buck hits something like that and comes up in there. And the country is super cool. Like, it's very open, and there's just like scattered like individual pine trees. So it's like you can see quite a bit if you're up high. Like if you get on one of these cliffs, you can see a lot. So my plan was, I'm just going to get up there, and there's like one little row of trees. I was just going to belly crawl through that to where I was out on like a cliff face basically, and then just park behind a pair of binos the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I get up in there, I get down to this cool little spot, and I like take my backpack off. I'm being all like stealth mode in this little block of trees. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna find one, and I'm looking down through the binos, just kind of scanning everything. And then I pick up like 2 does. I'm like, okay, maybe those are the ones I bumped. I have no idea, but they were like chill. They were just feeding on this super steep wall of this basin. It almost was like a spot, like you would think like a goat would be sitting. Like it was almost a vertical wall, and they were just like standing on it, just like eating grass, So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And as time goes by, I pick out 2 more. So now there's 4 deer over there. It looked like maybe like 3 does that were kind of together. It was like a big one, and like 2 like maybe yearling size ones, and then 1 other doe that was just kind of by herself. And as I was this was kind of interesting. So like the longer you get to like watch some animals, like you kind of just like are getting a feel for like how they're behaving, right? Like a lot of times when you're hunting, it's like split to second. Like you just see this thing, and you want to shoot it, and like you get set up and take a shot. So you don't get to like watch them for a long time. Like I was watching these deer for like 2 hours, probably just watching them do deer stuff,
Yeah.
And like that kind of excites me to like see that happen and just watching. And I kept seeing how they were like, so these 3 are interacting with this one, and it was like they wanted to be like not by each other. Like they were very like avoiding one another. And I was like, it just seems weird. Like, I don't know what's with that. And I was like, is that one doe maybe like hot, and the other ones can like smell that, and they're just like, we don't want to be around you because the bucks are gonna like show up, or I don't know what the deal was, man. It was like I'd never seen it be quite like that, where they were interacting in that way. So I'm just watching, and now it's getting towards sunset. And now I'm thinking in my head, okay, we literally have a morning left tomorrow. I have no idea what those guys are doing right now. And I was just like, I want to shoot a deer today. Like whatever. In my head, I just had it said, I was like, today's my day. And whatever I got to do to make that happen, I got to do. And so I'm watching these 3 does come right underneath me under this cliff. They're at like 60 yards, maybe right below me. And I was like, I could crawl 5 feet and literally shoot one off this cliff right now. But I was like, no, I'm just going to let them go. And so this one is still just standing over there by itself on this super steep little wall. And I'm thinking, all right, well, if it gets to like last shooting light and I got nothing else, I think I'm going to shoot it, And I kind of made up my mind. I was like, I felt good about that. I was like, I hunted hard for basically 3 days. This this would be cool. Like, I'll shoot this thing and be all good. Bunch of camp meat. Well, of course, it's getting right towards the end there, and then this other deer comes up out of the bottom, and it's like dark enough that I couldn't tell like if it was a buck or a doe or whatever, but it was like noticeably bigger than the other one, and I was like, the way it was acting, I was like, that's got to be a buck. Like, it had its neck kind of stretched out, and I'm like, he's checking this doe right now, and it was one of them deals where like you kind of go into like autopilot mode. Like I probably had, from the time I first picked this deer up to when I, in my head, was like, that's got to be a buck. Like, I have to make a play, was probably like 3 seconds. Like, I'm literally sitting there, binos up. I'm like, what is that? Oh my God, that's got to be a buck. Let's go. Game on. I threw my pack on. I start like crawling out through all this shit out to this other cliff by me. Cause I was like, I need to like close the distance, get a better angle on this. And so in, a matter of 2 minutes, I make the move up to this spot. I have such a good approach on them. They have no idea I'm there. I'm crawling like across an exposed rock face right to a cliff band. And I'm like, I'm going to literally crawl right up to this edge and they're going to be right below me. So I did. I get to the edge. I leave my pack behind me or whatever. I'm belly crawling up. I flip the bipod out of my rifle. I get right to the edge of the cliff and I just kind of like ease up over it, and I'm just like, all right, where are they at? Where are they at? And I can just see the doe now. And she's at about like 100 yards, just feeding, super chill. And I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, okay, what's legal shooting time at, and it felt like it was getting dark on me, but I still had like 5 minutes probably at this time. Like, I'm literally like looking at the time. Cause I'm like, all right, waiting. And I was like, then I was like losing faith in myself that I'm like, did I just see like this other deer? Like, maybe it wasn't a buck or whatever. And I just in my head was like willing it to be.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like I for sure, like I saw this thing, dude. Like, I know that was a buck. And I'm like, how am I not seeing it right now? And I kept, I'm just like, God, this is so perfect. I'm set up right here. I got the crosshairs on this doe and the scope, and I'm just like, fuck it. I was like, if she walks out here, turns broadside, I'm just gonna shoot it, Like, I was just, I had my mind made up. I'm like, I'm killing one tonight. Like, this is gonna be awesome. I'm in such a good spot. Like, this is perfect, She's going basically from my right to my left, walking uphill through some like 6 foot tall pines. Turns towards me to come out into the absolute wide open. And I'm talking like 6-inch tall grass, like as good as it gets, She turns to come out. And in the exact moment I'm like looking through the scope, looking at this thing, I just see one antler come through some trees behind her. And I'm like, yup, game on, And so the buck basically was just over the ridge behind her, like totally obscured from my view because there was like it dropped down.
Yeah.
But he was standing there the whole time, like probably in the wide open. I just couldn't see him. So she comes walking out and it was so cool. Like I was kind of like filming everything on my approach and whatever. But in this moment, I was just like, I had my phone right there and I was like, nope, like I need to just make this happen. And she comes walking out into the wide open, and this buck, like I just see his antlers come out of the trees and he turns broadside and comes walking right out into the open. It's like 6-inch tall grass. It was like the coolest moment, dude. And like, they were almost straight down from me on this cliff. And I'm just laying there perfect, like as set up as you could be on a bipod and everything. And he came walking right out and I put it right behind his shoulder and squeezed one off. And at that time, I probably had like legitimately like under 2 minutes of legal shooting light left. And it was like a little bit cloudy that day. So it felt very dark, I'll say. But I mean, like I saw him really good, and everything. Cause once you put, like when you're looking through a scope or like binoculars, it's crazy how much more light there is like versus like your eyes,
Yeah.
And so whatever, I'm looking at him and I was like, man, he actually looked pretty good for the little time that I watched him. And I didn't, I'm not like sitting there scoring him, but I was like, I mean, he looked like a solid frame 4x4 buck. And I was like, that's exactly what I came here to get. And he came out, took the shot, and it was so cool, dude. Like I shoot down into this hole and it just like swallowed it up. Like, for like a magnum rifle, when you take a shot, normally it kind of like, it's fairly loud. Like this was just like, that was it. Like nothing, just the basin just swallowed up the sound. And I literally heard the bullet impact on the deer, just this loud whack. And then he went charging downhill about 30 or 40 yards and watched him do like a full, cartwheel front flip or whatever. And then I didn't see him anymore. And I was like, dude,
You were
just
like,
shot
oh
him.
no.
I was like, just smashed him, and I dude, at that moment, like your adrenaline's flowing, like everything just came together. It's like, holy shit, And then it was like, I had nobody to be like, dude, we just did it. And so I'm like, all right, I kind of had a yard sale on my way in. So I'm like, now it's getting dark and I don't have a headlamp. And I'm like, I got to at least go find all my stuff, cause I was like, okay, like this thing is dead. So I went back, found my pack and all the shit I left, in the 100-yard approach to that deal. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I tried to send an inReach message out, but it kept saying like it wouldn't or something, to tell those guys like, hey, like I killed one, and like not like I shot him like at last light. So now I'm like, okay, like even if I started cutting them up right away, I'm like, by the time I do that and then hike out of here, it's going to be like fairly late. And I have no way to tell them like what's up. And so I hiked down to where the deer is at, and where I thought it was. So I hiked down off this cliff, like picking my way down this thing, get down to the bottom of this basin, and I'm like looking around, and I was like, he only ran like 30 yards. Like I cannot believe I'm not finding this thing. Like, So I'm just like, all right, well, where was I standing and this and this? But once you hike down into something like that, it always looks different. And so I go back up a little ways up the thing, and now it's dark, and I didn't, like, my headlamp must have been in my pack or something, and I just flipped on my phone light, like on your camera, which is like not super bright for like looking around.
Yeah, no,
but I turned it on.
You like always try it, and you're like, this is gonna work.
And I'm like trying to like locate a dead
animal
in like in like this big basin, but it was so dark already because the moon hadn't come up yet. I turned on my phone flashlight, dude, and I held it up like over my head, like super high. And I just like turned around. I shit you not, dude. I held it up and like pretty far away because I had hiked back up. So now it's probably like 70 yards away. I just see like the eyeball like reflecting the light, like how like a deer's eyes look like in your headlights kind of thing. So I'm like shining my phone light around and it's reflecting off of its eyeball like in the grass. So I was like, that's gotta be it, dude. So I walk right over there and sure as shit, he was laying there dead. And so when I get down to him, like I haven't had service the whole time. When I get down to where the deer's laying, I got like 3 bars of service. I was like, sick. So I was hoping that they did. I was able to get a call out and told those guys, hey, I got one. And I'm like, I'll just chill. Like if you guys just want to go back to camp or whatever, that's cool. And they were fired up. They were like, no, dude, we're coming in. Like we're on our way back now. And their plan was like to drive back to the camp, basically ditch all their gear and just come in with empty packs and help me pack it out. So I was just like, cool, I'll just hang out. So I sat back there. And when I hadn't even gone down to him yet, I just told him, hey, I shot this buck. Super cool. Well, when I walked down to him after the call, I was like, dude, he's actually pretty nice. Like he's a pretty solid buck. I was like, holy shit. And then I was thinking, I'm like, oh God, I really want to get some good pics, and like that kind of stuff and some video. So I was like, all right, well, I was just going to cut him up, but I was like, I'll just wait till they get here. Like it wasn't like hot out or anything. Like it wasn't a big deal. So I was like, I'll just chill. So now I'm thinking like, well, what am I going to do? I got to wait around for these guys to actually like, they got to hike in here still. And now it's like dark. So I was just sitting up there on this rock because I'm like, well, here we are, just sitting in the backcountry here. And I called one of my other buddies though, just to shoot the shit for a while, and was like, yeah, dude, just shot this deer. Like I'm in Montana. And he was stoked, and talked to him for a while. And then my phone battery was pretty low. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm going to try to like save a couple percent in case these guys got to get a hold of me or whatever. So I was just basically sitting up there, and I didn't want to kill my headlamp battery either. So I was just sitting there in the dark, basically, on this goddamn rock, listening to the coyotes going nuts, because they're just whatever, eating something probably, or I don't know. So I was just chilling, figuring if the yotes ended up coming up to where that carcass was, that I could just like be like, yo, get out. But they didn't. eventually those guys came and like there's something satisfying about like when you got guys coming in to help you pack out, and like you never know how long it's going to take them to get in. Like I knew about how long, but not like to the minute, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and you're just sitting there in the dark. It's like I have anything to do. Well, I mean, So eventually I see their headlamps, pop over this ridge way far away, and I was like, okay, they're almost here, kind of thing. And they make it down there. They were pumped. We went down, checked them out. It was kind of like, you get to celebrate it all over again, kind of thing, which is cool. And we got a bunch of dope pictures and some cool video and stuff. And then we all kind of pitched in and cut them up and hiked out. And then, again, it was just a gorgeous night too. So that night too, we came out and they had told me kind of like while we're cutting that, like, hey, we found like an actual juice spot. Like there's so many deer down by this river, and there's some public down there we can get on. And we're like, all right, game on. So now we got 2 bucks down, and we have basically like one morning to get TJ a deer.
Yeah.
So we come out that night, we ate mule deer again that night, which is always like, it's always sweet to have like, fresh meat in camp and you're like crushing it. And
especially 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. And I think we ate some tenderloin that night, which was just unreal. And so in the morning we're like, all right, we're getting up so early and we're going to like drive down to this spot. Well, we get up in the morning and it's like the first legit cold morning that we were there, like actually cold, like frost on the truck cold, which was like, it wasn't like insane, but it was like definitely like chilly. And we're driving in the dark down to this spot. It's just cracking light. And I killed myself because I was filming so much stuff on my phone, and like, my phone is always full. Like you can't like take a goddamn picture. It's so full, and we get down to this spot in the morning and I'm thinking like, I'm not going to record anything unless it's just like absolutely epic. Like I can maybe get like 1 or 2 clips only, and then I'm not going to be able to even use my phone anymore.
Yeah.
And of course, so we get down to this spot and we're getting close to where it becomes like public or whatever. And we look out in this field and it's all like ag fields, kind of open, flat stuff along this river area. And there is like just an absolute giant mule deer buck pushing a bunch of does around like 75 yards from the road. And everything is like covered in like frost crystals, like everything, every blade of grass, every fence line, everything. And this buck is out there, dude. And so we roll the windows down in the truck because they're all like fogged up. And I'm like, I want to see this thing, like I'm looking at him through the binos and he's all up, dude, swole neck, bristled up the whole thing. And he's like, you can see the steam coming out of his nose and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like, I cannot believe I'm not filming this right now, kind of thing, like It is the most epic scene. And he doesn't even care that we're there, but we're still like maybe a quarter mile from where it becomes public. And, then we start seeing some whitetail bucks around and we're like, okay, this could be good. And we roll up to the first spot that's actually public. And, we look out there and there's like a good amount of deer out there, like a bunch of whitetail does. And we're like, game on, dude. And so TJ literally is like getting his rifle ready, like we're going to pull up and he's going to jump out and go make a play on these things. And it's, it's been light for 2 minutes and we're already like, oh, there's some deer we can shoot. We pull up to kind of pull off the road and get into this piece of public right there. He jumps out, grabs his rifle and everything, goes out there. And I'm just thinking like, all right, I don't want to mess this up. Like, I cannot believe they're still here because they can for sure see the truck. And he's like kind of moving out towards him. He gets like 75 yards from the truck and kind of like lays down, sets his rifle up on a bipod, the whole thing. And I was like, oh, this is going to be nasty. I'm going to film this right here from the truck. He's going to smash one. And these deer are standing out there like perfectly broadside, dude. Like, and I'm thinking they're like 100, 150 yards, maybe, like a not far rifle shot, really. And he sets up and he's like and he's got his rangefinder out. He's doing all this shit. And then he takes a shot, dude. And me and my dad are sitting in the truck and we both look at each other like, what the fuck was that? So he takes a shot, and you see the bullet impact like in the dirt, like 500 yards past the deer. Like way the fuck out there. And I'm like,
just like a Western movie. Like, you know, when you're watching that like bar shooting scene and you look past the guy and you see explosion in the dirt like that.
Yeah,
just
like that.
What?
And it's like huge. And I'm like, what? And the crazy part was all these deer just like stood there and just like looked around like, what was that? And so he racks another one, you know?
Yeah.
Takes another shot. Same thing. Way the fuck. Like, I'm like, what is happening right now?
What are you doing?
I was like, you're blowing it. Like, this is like a grade A chance, you know? Like, we literally pull up first spot of the day. Look at all these deer. Get out. Maybe they'll not run away. He gets out. Not only do they not run away, they let him walk towards them and set up with a rifle in the absolute wide open. And now he's shooting at them and they aren't running away.
And they're like, ha.
So I think at that time, he takes 3 or 4 shots before the deer even moves at all.
Yeah.
And like, is not even in the zip code, dude. I'm like, what is going on, man? And he's telling me even before this trip how much he's been shooting and, oh, dude, like gun's so dialed, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I'm sitting in the truck kind of dying. And I was actually, this part I did record on my phone. So I do have a clip of all this where he's just like airmailing these. And I'm literally from the truck. I'm thinking it's less than 200 yards from the truck. Like, and he's out there at least 75 yards away, closer. And so whatever, it all goes down, the whole thing. And eventually I think he and I end up going out there. So the deer are still there, by the way. I get out, I get out and walk to where he is. And then we're kind of like talking and he's like, dude, I don't know really what happened. I was like, dude, I was watching them bullets fly very far away from where we are. But not anywhere good. And so we kind of walk up there because now we're kind of like, he didn't know what happened on like the last shot that he took. And now we're thinking, well, we got to at least check. Like, I don't know, maybe you hit one or I don't know. Right. And it was like the area that they were, it would have been like, we would have found it because it was like a little washed out ravine thing that they all ran into. I was like, if there's blood, we'll, you know, pick it apart kind of thing. And it was like we were in dreamland, dude. Like, so there's a lot of private around us, but everywhere we're walking, like everywhere I look, I'm just like, there's a giant mule deer buck. There's like 7 whitetail bucks right there. Oh, there's another giant. And they're all just like rutting in the wide open. We're like shooting guns. Like they don't give a shit. Like there's just deer walking everywhere. And I was like, this is pretty cool. But so now we're kind of on this, you know, okay, you know, looking for blood thing. We're on their track. You know, okay, this isn't looking real good. We get to the fence line and we're checking on X and we're like, well, technically the private goes another 50 yards. We can go there, cross this little creek thing. And, you know, we kind of exhaust that. And I wasn't exactly holding my breath, but you got to at least look, you know, like to like verify. So we spent a good amount of time there and we're kind of like, dude, I don't know, man. Like it didn't look like you hit it on any of those or whatever. Like I watched the bullet impacts way out there. So eventually we decided we're like, it was a miss, man. Like, you know, but we've burned some time. Like it's getting on in the morning and now it's warming up quickly. And we were concerned like, dude, now all the deer are going to go back down in these river bottoms, which are private where we can't go. And like right now they're all in the wide open. So we're like, they had found the day prior when they were driving around when I was hunting the other spot that they had found another chunk of public that was pretty loaded up. So we went there and we kind of glassed over it and it didn't look that good. And there was one other truck there. Like there was some guys hunting, like you could go way back in there, but there was another truck parked there at the access. So we were kind of like, I don't want to like go hiking in there necessarily or whatever. But while we're parked there, two whitetails run right across the road in front of the truck and run right into the public, right in front of us. And I was like, holy shit. So he jumps out with his rifle and goes a ways and kind of gets set up, hoping that they would stop. And they didn't. They kind of just kept cruising. And then they dropped over the edge into this little river bottom thing. And there was like public, then a little bit of private, and then public again. And so we're just like, let's go. Like we can just get around the corner of this private thing and get on the public on the other side. And like, maybe they'll be right there. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking this is probably our last chance. Like I can't see us finding another setup quite this easy. So we take off, we get up in there, we go around the little corner of private that's there. There's like a fence post. You get around that. Okay, we're in, we're good. And now I'm just like looking around in my glass, trying to find any deer. I'm like, they gotta be right here somewhere. And nothing. And eventually we spot them where we spot one deer standing up in this creek bottom on a little like island of dirt. And he's looking at it through the scope and didn't have a real good rest or whatever. And I'm just like, take your time, man. Like, just take your time. And he ended up taking a shot, missing again. And now I'm just like, oh man, like, I don't know if this is like a rifles fucked thing or like what's going on here, or, you know, I don't know. In my head, I'm just like, this is not good, you know? And so, but the crazy part was, after he took the shot and missed, it started running towards us. Okay. And then it kind of got out of view. And I think he tried to get on it again and never really like had a shot there. But then it comes. So I'll say the first shot he took, like maybe like 150 yards or so. Deer comes closer, goes out of sight. Deer comes closer again, comes out into a dirt field, basically. It's like 70 yards coming right towards us. And it gets clear of like all the brush, everything. It's standing in the, I mean, this is like Walmart parking lot type shit, like wide open flat. This deer comes running right out into this field and just stands like facing us. It sees us. It just stops and just stands there looking at us like motionless. And I'm just like, for the love of God, make this happen. It's like 70 yards, you know, and he put it right on the chest and let it have it. And the thing just, I mean, got smashed basically. So after all that excitement, I mean, I don't even know how many times he actually shot, but I was just like, dude, we got to get this done.
Like, you're like, you know, like, come on.
Like, it was kind of funny, but I'm also like, come on, like, let's, you know, we got a hammer one here. And we are like, this deer is right here. And we've had how many chances on it. And now it was like the deer had come up and was just like, just get me, dude. Like,
yeah,
just do it.
Just do it already.
So he did, whatever. He put it right. I mean, he shot it like right in it was like a frontal shot, 70 yards with a rifle and put him right down. And so whatever, we go over there and now we were relieved, but hyped at the same time. And we go over there and we ended up butchering that thing up right there. And then while we're cutting that deer up, we see these guys come hiking out, presumably the guys in the other truck. And they come hiking over to us and they're like, oh, nice. Looks like you got one, you know? And we're like, yeah, man, like whatever, you know, we're just cutting them up and it's all cool. And they were packing one out. They just shot a nice 8-pointer, like further back in. It was like, two dudes they were older than us, but it was them. And they had like their dad who was like seemingly very old.
Mm-hmm.
And, they took him back in there and the old man, I guess, whacked this nice buck. So they were packing the meat out in the head on that one. And we were cutting one up and yeah, we packed it back to the truck and everyone was all high fives. And I mean, of course we were roasting them for missing so many times, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And
at least you got the job done too. So like you got to roast them, but you still got them.
Yeah. But it's badass, like being successful on a trip like that. And, you know, there's a lot of traveling, like, you know, this is a lot of hours for us to go out there for a short trip. You know, we literally went for like 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And came away with $2 and a doe out of that deal and a bunch more meat and some good memories and all that. So it was fun. And like I said, that pretty much capped off my like hunting season. So, yeah, like right after that was holiday stuff. And then we pretty much got right into all of our ice fishing business and craziness. So yeah, that one stuck with me though. And like, I've told the story to a handful of people and everyone was like, dude, that sounds like such a fun trip. And it's one that's like, I'd like to take other people to do because it's like a very doable one. Like some of these other ones are like a little more involved or like a little more physical where you got to get to and, you know, whatever. Like it sucks sometimes, but like this one is pretty chill. Like you're pretty much hunting out of a base camp. Like you have, you know, whatever, you know, I got the Traeger literally in the back of the truck. Like we're chill.
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, so I still have, I still haven't cleaned the skulls from those 2 bucks. They're just sitting in my garage right now. So I better do that soon. But yeah, I'll get that thing get the skull cleaned up and get them up on my bone pile here. So
you got to be damn near running out of room.
Oh yeah, there's never enough, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun stuff. And like I said, there was a lot of good memories on that one. And I don't know. You never know how it's going to play out, but I feel like I learned a lot more about like the deer numbers and how they spread out when they're down, when the numbers are down. And like we obviously found an area that was like good.
Yeah.
Just later in the hunt. Like it was like we'd never been in that part of it by this area that apparently a lot of them either survive in or they move out of some of the hill country into like when times are tough. But I'm excited to see how this winter plays out. Like Will was saying earlier, like, you know, they haven't had a lot of snow, and typically that first half of winter is when they get hammered, like with the snow that would like kill a lot of animals. So even if they do get a bunch of snow at this point, I feel like they might be still okay. You know, like they kind of they're through like the part that would suck the most, where a lot of them would die. So potentially maybe they have a good spring this year with like fawns and stuff and start building the numbers back up. But interesting to see like an area that you really like and you've learned a lot, like change so much, I guess, you know?
Oh,
Kind of
yeah,
like
for sure.
kind of like watching a lake get hammered. You're like, oh man, it used to be like so good, and like now it's like definitely not.
Yeah, should have
there's
been here
bucks
back
around.
in the day.
Exactly. But no, it was cool and it, you know, makes your brain work a little bit more on like the hunting strategy side. You're like, all right, how do we get one of these little bit better bucks down? And we managed to get one like that, you know, which is cool. So
yeah, there you go.
So yeah, Montana. I'm ready to go back already. Just talking about it gets me riled up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's your hunting season. You guys live like what, 9 months waiting for like 0 time, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you just tear it apart for 3 months and then it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, we got hella meat now. I mean, this weekend we were lighting up.
Yeah, we got to have some of the elk
backstrap, which was
that
awesome.
was super good.
We got plenty more of that going around. So I'm sure we'll be burning plenty of red meat the next couple weekends that we're giving her. So
yeah. Oh, maybe, and none of us will be complaining.
No. So maybe we'll pull out some Montana mule deer for this next weekend.
Wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be bad. Like I said, hopefully I'm curious to see how the whole fishing thing goes.
Dude, I think it's going to be really good. I'm just like
I'm more of just
super
talking
psyched about the
weekend.
temperature. Yeah, it's going to be.
I'm more of just talking about this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Just like I think it's going to be really good. It's just when you get in the negatives, it's just like, God damn.
I know.
Especially because it's going to be windy too.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just what you're hoping for, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to be cooking on the ice. I'll just throw that out there right now.
No. That will not be happening. That one will be a no-go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see how these temperatures actually shake out. I mean, we definitely plummet like from Saturday night until Tuesday. Right now, I'm looking at the highest temperature we will see will be 1.
Yikes.
Yeah, so we're gonna make hell ice. It's gonna be cold as shit. But that's also why I'm like, part of me is like, okay, like if we can get out a couple days and just try to hammer it out and see what we can get, like I got no problem chilling at home during the negatives and being like, hey, everybody just be ready for once it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, even the teens are like, single digits, I don't even really care about, or teens. It's just like once it's negative, stuff starts breaking. Big time.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just happy, like literally looking at the forecast right now, like it's been like tonight, the low is 18. It's like, oh my God, it's one of the coldest nights of the last freaking 2 months. But then tomorrow night's 12, Thursday 7, Friday 6, Saturday -10. Like the next 7 days, our high at night is 12. So like we are about to make a whole shitload of ice.
Yeah.
And I think that'll lead to a lot of really great things. Like I said, my dream ice season would be we get these 7 days, and then right after that, it's like mid-20s every day after. I mean, I'm not going to get greedy and say mid-30s, like mid-20s, even upper teens. Cool with me. Be awesome. But dude, at this same time, we've been waiting so long for it. I'm not going to complain.
I know. It's like you want it so bad, and then it's like the way we.
Yeah, here's your weekend: 15-mile-an-hour winds and -10. You're like,
it's like, oh, you want it? Okay.
Yeah, well, let's play that game. So, no, we will see how that goes. But we appreciate anyone who's listened all the way to the end of this 2-hour, 25-minute pod. Me and Pink, and Stolski was here earlier. Really got her worked out, and I will say I'm making no promises for the next episode, just because based off of the guests we're trying to get, he's kind of known as a white whale, I would say, and you just never know. Like if he shows up, it's gonna be awesome. If he doesn't, I'm like, all's good. You're just
we'll get him eventually. It's just like,
yeah, we're just hoping. We're hoping
the timing is just.
I wanted it for this one, but he was like, I was like, okay, well, we'll do the next one, and you have to. And he was like, all right, deal. I have the screenshot now, so if he goes to do anything else, I'm like, you're in trouble. So we got him. Next guest on the pod. We probably won't have. There won't be a guest, I would say, for the next month unless it's him, because we're gonna make sure we get that one. So.
Yeah, agreed.
Other than that, thank you everybody so much for listening. We appreciate all of you a ton. And until next time, when we have a bunch more ice, we'll have a lot more stories by the next one. Because as much as we're like, yeah, we're doing stuff, it's been a lot of like kind of doing stuff. And also we can't really fully talk about it yet because we've just been trying to hold on to videos to survive the last few weeks. So now we get to start actually dumping.
We're so close.
Which I'm excited about. I'm excited to start getting stuff out. So thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you on the next one.